welcome to Marie+One. I'm Marie, and today's plus one is Brian Kellum.
What's up? How's it going, you guys? Super
Hi,
stoked to be on here.
hi, Brian. How you doing?
Doing wonderful. How about yourself?
Good,
Good.
I'm super happy to have you. And I would like to start with asking you if you can introduce yourself in a couple words for us.
Yeah. My name is Brian Kellum. As we've said, Brian Vincent Kellum. I like to go by the second. I have the second. Oh man, I can go all over the place here. Okay. But born and raised here from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And, I've loved it here almost 30 years. I'm 29 years old. And I love it here. I've been put on to many different avenues and jobs and many different things. But yeah, here in Albuquerque is where I'm from. And yeah.
Cool. Okay. 29. So if you said you're being called the second, I'm going to call you the youngster because you're younger than me.
Oh, goodness.
And I just turned 22. I wish.
I
just
wish.
turned 32. No, actually, I'm really comfortable in my age. So, but what about, when is your birthday?
Yeah, so my birthday is on the 27th of November. It actually falls on Thanksgiving this year. It's so wild. Every now and then it happens to do so. But yeah, Thanksgiving this year, 27th. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be turning 30. Oh, man.
Ooh, the big 3-0.
The
Are you
big
ready?
3-0. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm definitely ready for it. So.
I feel like it's funny because growing up, I feel like a lot of people always said that 40 is a big deal, right? Like, especially for men for some reason, that 40 is a big, like, pivot in life. But I turned 32 years ago, and I'm just like, and for me, I'm like, damn, 30 was a bit of a pivot for me too. Like, okay, I turned 30 and I was pregnant with my son, my first child, and first and only so far. But it was like, oh my God, like it really, like, also because I think I was pregnant, but it also like had something, that clicked in me and was like, oh, I'm a new woman, or, it's interesting. But you're still 29 today,
Yes.
so we're not there yet. What do you do for a living?
Oh, that's a great question. So I actually help people with upgrading their water quality as far as their water source. So I actually help people upgrade their drinking water, or also their shower water, or also just I play into this health and wellness role. I actually decided to partner with this Japanese medical company by the name of Enagic. And they have actually came into my life about 9 years ago, and it really touched my life in many different avenues because I was undergoing a lot of different things that really put me into perception as far as what I could be doing for myself and for my family and for future generations to come too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, so I'm interested in that. I have so many questions coming at once. Okay,
Yeah.
so first I'm like, wait, so that company for the improving water, is
Yeah.
it like kind of when you call a company and you change your water system in your house, or is it more, is it something different? How does that work?
Oh, that's a great question. It's actually a lot different. So this company is based out of Okinawa. They're actually recognized in the Direct Sales Association. So they're actually more different than your average like traditional marketing and so forth like that, where companies will go out of their way to pay like Costco or Target or Whole Foods, or even they'll pay some high-end athletes to go out and market and promote their product. Where, well, this company is actually all about true health. So physically, financially, spiritually, they're really all about giving back to people. And they're really unique. I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I was first coming across this stuff, because at first it's their water that I came across. A lot of you guys may be familiar with it. It's known as Kangen water,
Okay.
and that's how it's pronounced. A lot of people would pronounce it Kangen, but it's been around for 50 years now, and so they don't do traditional marketing and so forth like how many other people would do. But yeah.
And is it water you buy and you have to consume that way, or is it some sort of filter, or?
Yeah, so it's a filter. It's actually more than a filter. It's crazy because this device is actually recognized as a medical device in Japan. So
Okay.
it is actually in many different hospitals out there. I actually had the pleasure of going out to Japan about a year and a half ago. My girlfriend and I, we actually went out there, and yeah, it's beautiful. But
Okay.
they really are top notch. It's really eye opening to
Okay.
just see as far as for what they do.
Yeah. And so, okay, because the way you're describing it, is it like that pyramid system kind of thing that's going on, or?
It's a great question. So, you know, it in the sense, money has to flow some way.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times, what this is, it's not necessarily a pyramid scheme because a lot of people would put their finger on it like that, but in reality, this company, they're more so known in they're actually into a direct sales, like they have their own patented like referral program.
Okay.
So it being patented and them being for 51, I'm actually about to go out to their I think it's their 51st anniversary out in San Diego. They've really done a lot of work and to make sure that this is actually what it is and what it says it is. The thing is that I feel like a lot of people can get like kind of misconstrued is the fact that there's a lot of the fact that this company doesn't do traditional marketing or promoting like that. There are people out there who will partner with this company, and they'll necessarily go and do things behind the company's back, or behind in the sense of like kind of like not like they're doing things behind their policy. So they actually have company policies that people have to abide by because they could get shut down because then it can be seen as like this and that. They have a whole bunch of different money and things and liabilities on their hands. So that's more so where I could see where people can see it as a pyramid scheme is by the people who how people replicate and represent it. But yeah, it's direct sales. It's in the Direct Sales Association. So it's pretty similar to, I like to think of it, to kind of break it down, as like a health broker. So you think of as like a broker for like a house, for a realtor, you know what I'm saying? They make up to, I forget, like 65-75% in commissions depending on what it is that they sell. But when in this, it's I'm indirect, I'm referred to as an indirect distributor for the company.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been eye-opening. It's really given me a lot of insight, passion. I mean, when I first was getting my hands on the water, it really that's really what hit me first. But yeah.
And so who and then we can I want to move then to like you as a person, but is it something that, so who is your clientele? Is it like people like you and me, or is it more like restaurants or companies or?
So that it can definitely vary. It varies from, I would say, people who are looking to better their health and wellness, because people are starting to learn more about water, and they recognize that that's what we're mainly made up of. So it's like, why not put the most quality in us? But restaurants, businesses, it's cool because partnering and collaborating with restaurants too. I've been actually getting many different insight and hindsight from these people that are saying that like, oh, the water is helping out with washing off our fruits and vegetables a lot more effectively and efficiently and chemical free. And not only that, but there's even company or restaurants that also work with like teas and coffees and like cold brews and stuff like that. And they're also noticing like a better yield as far as for what this water compared to like bottled or tap water that they used to use, or even sometimes the water that they go to Whole Foods for. So it's really cool. It's really awesome to hear.
You seem very passionate about it, so that's why I was I wanted to dig a little bit into it. But before we dig into like recent stuff, I wanted to take you back to who young Brian was.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's crazy because I think about it, and and I want to talk about like spirituality or however what that definition is to you.
Yeah.
To me, I don't believe in a God. I believe in like energies more and the universe and that type of thing. And sometimes I have like a hard time realizing that this body was young or
Yeah.
baby at some point and went
Yeah.
through so many things and is here today and is still gonna go through so much. But it's like, oh yeah, and I know that, like, I think scientifically, like, our cells renew themselves in every 7 years, I think. So technically it's right. I think it's something like that. Or
I've never heard that before, but that sounds about right. I mean, I've heard, obviously, like, our bodies can obviously heal itself when we give it the things that it needs correctly, right? You know, rather than like masking it or giving it a whole bunch of other things. You know, it's kind of got to go down to the source of it and the origin, and it can be hard to do so at times. You know, we got to do a lot of research, and sometimes it takes people years of research to find that out. But yeah.
And so your body was young at some point.
Yeah. So I know, you know what, little Brian, man, gentle giant. It's crazy because I was actually born and raised from my grandparents from the age of 2 till 18. They when I moved out, unfortunately, my parents suffer from addictions and you know, drugs and so forth, and it just, little Brian, man, I was very grateful and blessed to say that he had such guardian angels of grandparents to help him realize, like, this life and everything in it, and realize how powerful, like, our thoughts, habits, emotions, like, are, and especially when we have that, like just the definiteness of thought, in the sense of having just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. It's more so just having that definiteness of an idea of what it is that you want to do and doing it. And so, yeah.
So, okay, so you were raised by your grandparents starting when you were 2.
Yeah.
So are your grandparents still with us?
So unfortunately, no. My grandmother actually passed away 6 years ago from lung cancer. And then my grandfather actually just recently passed 2.5 years. It's from cancer as well. But that's ultimately what, you know, it's crazy because when, I don't know, they put me into team sports. They actually, from 2nd grade to 8th grade, I went to a private school. Okay. And I don't know, I'm so grateful that, I don't know, my grandparents chose to put me into a private school. At first, it was a little interesting because, like, 2nd and 3rd grade, I went to a school called Temple Baptist Academy. It's no longer here anymore, but it was very formal in the sense of where all the kids would be dressed up as, like, slacks and button-ups, you know, like, early and often. And, like, then that was Baptist, and then I transitioned from going to, from 3rd grade to 8th grade, I was at a Lutheran school. And that was, in the sense, more freedom, I would say, and with the clothing and, like, but by far the most love and, like, hands-on I've ever received from, like, teachers that have just helped me grow and just learn to develop that faith and understanding that, you know, like, things are going to be okay even when it's not okay. It's like, it's something hard for people to develop too, for sure. Don't get me wrong. Like, because life is short, you know, life is very short, and it's, you know, it has a lot of meaning into it, but it's ultimately what we give the meaning to it. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah.
And see, when you say that, it's funny because I don't think maybe in the episode with Isabella, I don't think I explained my tattoo yet so far in the on the podcast. But so it's cherry blossom flowers, and it's 7 because I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. There's 7 of us. I'm the oldest.
Whoa.
And I know. And cherry blossom, they blossom in the spring. I'm a June 2nd baby, so I was born in the spring, and then but they also symbolize a beautiful life, but a short life because they only blossom for a week. And so that also is a link to my mom, who passed away really young. And so, but she didn't have a beautiful life though. She had a short life. And so that's why I'm like, okay. And that's also was kind of an eye opener for me, you know, to be, you know, and I moved here, like, super long story, but, and so I joined you there where life is short, but it can be beautiful, and it can have a lot of meaning if we decide to put meaning into it.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm so happy to have you here, and that I'm so happy that I decided to do this, because this is what I feel like my calling is, if you can call it like that. I'm so interested in people, and I feel like the mainstream media or even like social media is not really like pushing us to know each other, but more like putting us against each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to interview like celebrities or whatever. And who, like, I'm nobody to interview a celebrity either way. Right now, I'm not a journalist or anything. But all I'm saying is they have their own platforms, and I want to interview us, like, you know,
Yeah.
the real people, because we have all crazy stories to share.
Yes.
But I'm so sorry to hear that about your grandparents. And grief is also something really hard to overcome, especially when, you know, it's people that raised you and that seem to be wonderful too. But are your parents still around?
Oh, see, it's wild because, you know, I've had to go through therapy, and, you know, it's helped me a lot. Just because sharing and talking, like, I wouldn't be able to talk or share about a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you now, but unfortunately they're not. You know, they're not. They're still pertaining into the same thing that they were doing when I was 2 years old. And, you know, it's wild too, because I remember my therapist, like, I was sharing with her all these things that are going on in my life, and she's like, wow, like, she asked me, she's like, how do you put up with it? And I'm like, well, like, I'm here, like, this is a part of it, like, you know, like, this is a part of it.
Are
like,
you supposed to give me that
there's
answer?
a lot of things I could recommend, I tell you, you know, but yeah, it's yeah, unfortunately, I you know, I love them so much, but it's like we can always want something for people, you know, we want people to change, we want people to do something else different, but it's like, it's ultimately for them to want it themselves.
Oh,
you
yes.
know, and it's so hard to learn how to disassociate from that. And also, like, yeah, we love these people, so like it's also like another thing too, to like, how can we better ourselves to communicating more to these people, you know, how can we to actually help them. And so yeah, that's definitely one of the many things that therapy has put me through and helped me out with, is just coping with that. And, you know, grief is a hard thing, like you said, because it's like we you know, we're not only grieving from people that we've actually physically lost, we're also grieving from people that we've cut friendships with or cut ties with, or even, like, unfortunately, family just doesn't resonate or vibe with what it is that we're trying to do, and they want us to do something else. So it's like, you know, it's so hard at times, but it's you know, we gotta cultivate that faith and that belief within ourselves, and, you know, like, have that direction, and it's gonna go tenfold. So
Yeah.
this is beautiful, by the way. This is awesome. This is a really cool spot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the thing is, see, like, sometimes I feel like we also grieve the people that will never be the way we think they should, or we think they, or like, I have so many examples. Like,
Yeah.
you know, one of my sisters, she was so I'm gonna try not to cry, but she was so joyful, and
Yeah.
she was always such like the life of the party.
Yeah.
And the shit that we went through. Also, we can curse. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
sponsored. I wish, you know,
Shit.
you never know. So far, we're not. You know, this is I'm not being paid on this, so you know,
Yeah.
it's fine. We can curse, but all the shit that we went through. Scarred her and changed her, and you can see it on pictures, like how, you know, happy she was, and then all of a sudden there's this shadow,
Yeah.
and it's following her to this day, and it's
Yeah.
so hard because, you know, it's also sometimes I miss my sister that was like that, you know.
Right.
So you also grieve for the people that, you know, were the way they were and are not
Yeah.
anymore, but also, like, and see, for my mom, for example, she passed, but then you also all of a sudden realize I wasn't talking to her. And so it's like, wait, all of a sudden you're not just grieving the fact that you lost your mom, you're also grieving the relationship that you will never have, because she's gone, and because you as a person, you didn't get the chance to grow and talk to her and see things differently, or whatever the case may be. And so that's also, like, growing up is something that I'm realizing, and that's really rough, and that's what got me to start the podcast, is realizing that, like, my main problem was I was so afraid of my dad's judgment of however I would look or whatever I would say, or, mind you, he doesn't speak that good of English, so I don't think he would ever watch this either way. But I was always, you know, thinking, oh my God, and there was always so much judgment. And then something happened, and with one of my other sisters, and then I just realized, he's never going to change. And I had to also grieve that the
Yeah.
fact that, unfortunately, even though all of us are growing
Yeah.
up and understanding things of in life or of life, that sometimes your parents,
Yeah.
they're so stuck in their own ways, and
Yeah.
it's like, and you want to shake them, and you,
Yeah.
but that generation, I feel like your parents might be the same generation, or just like don't believe in their children teaching them anything,
Yeah.
and so
Just like you said it best, and it's like people say that the what do they say is like the future is like the next generation is the future, right? But it's like when we don't like actually come to them with open arms or open ears and like hear out what it is that they have to share or what it is that they're doing in school, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It could really almost push people away, and it'll make people feel some type of way, and and that's not what we want. It's like then people start kind of going off and being inauthentic in the sense to themselves, because it's like they're going away from what it is that's their heart's truly calling onto them, and it's like they're more so doing something because of their mom and dad want them to do it. That's what's been in their mind. That's the way they've been taught. So that's the right way in their head, So
Right.
like, but that's it's so wild, like just to learn to disassociate, and it's hard to learn to disassociate, but to grieve, it's a never-ending process, So
no, and then some days I feel like you're good, and then some days you're just back at it, and you have to just embrace it and keep going.
Yeah.
So when you say you're the second, or is it from your dad, or is it from your grandpa?
Yeah, it was from my actual dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the first, and thank God, because who knows what would be out there on my name. But I'm just, but I'm joking. All right.
All right.
But in all seriousness, though, I'm very grateful. It's just, it's wild. My grandparents were actually about to rename me Jordan at one point in my life, and I was like, that's an interesting. It would have been Jordan. They were gonna call me Jordan Allen Noble, because it was Rodney and Karen Noble. So yeah, it's wild.
Okay.
Never did that, but
Yeah. Okay. So I have so many questions.
Yeah.
So, what happened when you were 2? Did they like?
Geez, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh,
and
for
so,
real? Okay.
Yeah. So, again, little Brian, man, it's funny that you live out in Edgewood, correct?
In Edgewood, yeah.
So like, it's funny because that's the time being. My mom and dad. My mom was actually she was working her butt off, her ass off, very close to getting her nursing degree at UNM.
Okay.
My dad was also working construction, and so they were living out in Edgewood, and that's where little Brian was at. But through time and through the thickness of what they encompassed themselves in, through just they were trafficking and dealing drugs, my mom was constantly going and picking up my dad from jail. And long story short, they ended up splitting apart. And I remember the day that my mom was taking me to, there's this little spot. I don't even know what it's called now, but I had to go take a photo of it and post it on my Instagram. But there was, it used to be a old used baby fraternity store. So my grandma used to own that spot, and she would actually help out sell a lot of new and used baby clothing and all that wonderful stuff.
Super cool idea.
And I remember the day that my mom came and dropped me off, and that was it. It was I didn't see my mom for it was a minute, and I got notes back and forth from her, and then I would see her every now and then one day randomly I woke up to like a big old box outside on our house, and it was from my mom and my dad, and they came and dropped it off on the house as like a whole bunch of gifts for me. Yeah, it's sad, but I know I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for my grandparents and for these things that I've gone through, because it ultimately makes me who I am today, and helps me with my mental toughness and shoot, like life.
Oh man,
I know.
that's so hard to picture too, especially because I mean my son is about to turn 2.
Yeah.
And there's no world right now that I can't envision
Just
dropping him off, even with a family member. It's like, no, like, so, but also because of what happened. So my mom she drank a lot. I used to say that she used to do everything possible in the book, like including like smoking, drinking, all that good
Yes.
stuff. Even though I just had a conversation with one of my sisters, and she said, because she listens to the podcast, and she said, you know what? I don't have any remembrance of mom doing drugs.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, I think you're right. I think it was just a saying that we, like, I've been used to say my whole life.
Yeah.
But like, I've never seen her do drugs. I've seen her smoke. I've seen her drink a lot. But, you know, even though, I mean, it's also like in the drug category, right? So I'm
Right.
like, you know, I don't know. But yeah, so, but I think what I've come to realize is that she went through so much shit too. And I think when she had us, and so for her, my dad was the love of her life, and he left her for a younger woman, which he's still with. They got married, they got children, and all that. And but nonetheless, it was the love of her life.
Yeah.
And she, I don't think she ever grieved that relationship.
Yeah.
And I think her motherhood never took the front stage, like never was her priority.
Yeah.
And I'm not finding her excuses or saying that it was okay, but I so wish that she was still alive, because now that I have so much, like, you know, that I took a step back on that whole situation, I would like to tell her so many things.
Yeah.
And not that it was okay, but that I don't understand, but I hear it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I want to say, man, it's so hard to be a human. I want to say a woman, but it's selfish. And I think men have also a lot of things to go through, but it's like, it's so hard in this society to find yourself and cope and, you know, and some people find coping mechanisms in drugs, and it's not good. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
But still, yet it's like, and because it destroys your family. And I think we're both, I mean, you know, examples of that, even though, I mean, you get back up and you keep going, but it hurts. And so I can't imagine the state she was in when she dropped you, even though I don't want to cause any, like, maybe, you know, thinking or whatever, but and maybe she didn't think any much of it either. Who knows? But I'm just like, I'm a mom myself of a little boy that's about to be 2, and I can't picture that. So your grandparents, they took over, and they, you know, just embraced you.
Yeah.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, you know, it's so wild, because it's wild. Like, so I do have a sister. Her name is Chloe Joy. And
what a beautiful name.
Yeah, we're 15 years apart. So it's so wild. Like, my mom and my dad, through things, it's just, you know, the way the waves and everything happen in life. It's just so wild how they came back together, and they have brought my beautiful sister into this world. And I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful, because it's one of the many things that I was actually wishing for when I was an only child. It was interesting. Like, I was telling my mom, like, I remember telling her young, I was like, like, I want a sibling, I want a brother, I want a sister, you know. And so, then now we are. She's 15 years apart, and I love her deeply.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was she raised by your grandparents too?
Yeah. It's so wild. Like, so there were many different, like, high points and low points of my mom's life, to where she was doing really well. She was, you know, staying sober. She was doing, you know, everything that she was doing, not only for herself, but for her family, and actually working a job and being, like, just a great person all around, and to herself especially. And then, I don't know, it just switched like that, you know. It just switched where she really wanted to, she just fell back on a lot of that stuff, on things that, on her old coping mechanisms, that's what she was used to, you know. That's what and it's so hard. But
it's so hard, because, and I want to know, like, how you feel about it, because for me, it's when you have your reference, like your parents, and they're human, right? So you grow up and you actually realize that, you know, your parents are actually adults, and they were actually young at some point too.
Right.
And so, you know, they made mistakes, but it's like, how do you build yourself, and how do you not go that route? When that's what you saw,
you know, it's, and it's all in the reality of, like, knowing, obviously, between right and wrong, but sometimes people aren't taught that, you know. They have to necessarily learn the hard way, and sometimes the hard way takes them down a path where it's, you know, it's it's very dark, but it's like I pray for people that are able to recognize sooner than later that, you know, we are powerful, we are amazing beings, and it's like we don't have to set foot into that path. It's like that's, you know, it's like we could choose. It's all in how we choose to see it, you know, and yeah, it was very hard for me to kind of cope with that, but I coped with it through just the love of what my grandparents have surrounded me with, and also the school. But I could go on. Yeah, it's so wild to think about.
How often would you see your parents?
Oh, it would vary. It would often vary where I would see my mom more than my dad. My dad was honestly in jail and in prison for a good amount of time. And then also my mom was in jail for a minute there as well. So I would only be getting notes from them at times, and sometimes phone calls every now and then. But it changed, and I would say very almost like, gosh, it's so hard. It was so scattered. It was just very so much scattered, the amounts of times that I would see them, because there would be like a moment of time where I wouldn't see my mom, and next thing you know, I'm over here like at a base, like I played baseball, so I would be pitching, and then I would like get a glance. I'm like, oh, my mom's over here in the stands watching me, and I'm like, wow, this has been forever since I've, you know what I'm saying? It throw me off a little bit, but yeah, that, and shoot, she knows I love her, and she knows. It's just, yeah, it's hard for me to. I come at it with compassion and love, because it's like I see where her lifestyle has come from too, and you know, little Christine also had a hard childhood as well. And, you know, it's wild how we learn things as we get older, you know, and through time it takes us. And it's like, you know, I learned that, you know, I just learned all these different things about her that I never knew when I was younger. And it really put into perception as far as like how she was actually adopted. And so my grandfather came into her life and like basically adopted her, because I guess my grandmother and her at the time being were with a very traumatizing guy. My mom still to this day doesn't even know her father. And it's like, yeah, I didn't know all this stuff until like, you know, a few years ago. Yeah. And it's like, but yeah, it's so hard to just, I try to just be there and love her, and, you know, express that love and compassion. But yeah, she knows.
Well, thank you for doing that, because I mean, it's not easy. Yeah. And I'm sure it's not easy for her, because I feel like that generation of parents, they're very much in the toughen up. Like, you have to just like hide your, like, I don't want to say weaknesses, that's not the right word, but you're
suck
like,
it up.
Just suck it up. Yeah. And like everybody goes through shit. Yeah. And like, you know, so deal with it. And it's like, wait, no, like, well, yeah, we have to deal with it, but it doesn't have to stay hidden, or, you know, and there's so much family trauma. And the problem is when you keep it in, you there's so much more chance. I mean, I don't have numbers, but to reproduce that with your children. And, you know, I mean, and even if you talk about it, you can still reproduce it, but, you know, at least you have you're conscious about it. And, and it's hard, because I feel like sometimes too, like I have like my husband's grandmother, she talks sometimes about like trauma that happened to her. Yeah. And I mean, it's her, so I'm not going to really go into details, but it's like, but she talks about it like, like, oh, I made spaghetti yesterday, you know? And,
like, and it's not all nonchalant.
Yeah. And it's like, wait, no, but you just said something really traumatic. Like, are you okay? And I know it happened like 30, 40 years ago, but like nobody, I feel like it's just like you brush it off down under the carpet, and I feel like we're the first generation that were like, no, wait a second, actually, let's try to heal and break that circle.
Instead of just sweeping it under the rug, you know. It's like we want to be a lot more intentional with it, and like obviously with our thoughts, habits, emotions, and like it's sometimes it's just a shitty upbringing sometimes, you know. It's a series of unfortunate events, you know. It's like I have a coworker that I work with who just went through a crazy series of unfortunate events, and bless her heart, you know, it's just wild to see. It's like, it's inevitable, you know, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like we have a choice, you know, and it's so hard to do, but it's easier said than done, but it's so worth it when we choose to just take a deep breath, put ourselves in the present moment, count our blessings, count the things that, you know, the things that we are grateful for, and everything that we have in life. Cause, you know, we can't take life for granted, cause it's like, we could be here one day and the next day we're not, you know, and it's just all in the matter of perception. And yeah, so life.
I agree 100%. Okay, so you said you were into baseball.
Yeah.
And so what type of kid were you? Were you more like the extroverted
So,
or introvert?
Oh shoot, that's a great question. So, I was more of an introvert. I was very shy at first. I was more like I said, I was like the gentle giant is what they would call me, like in middle school, because of like, oh, Brian, like, you know, we're not even gonna go there. But I was very respectful, very loving, very caring, and almost at that time I obviously cared too much, and you know, we go through things and it helps us and shapes us and molds us to help us, you know, think a lot better and obviously recognize a lot sooner and faster. So, little Brian, I love baseball. It was, if it wasn't for baseball and like, I also played basketball. I don't know where else a lot of my time and effort and energy would have went to. It would have been to video games, honestly. Cause like, that's what I would be doing whenever I would be relaxing or swimming in my grandparents' pool. They had me set up in a very great environment, and it's baseball, sports, basketball. I from going to go practice with my grandfather, like just to go throw the baseball, like at Jackson Middle School, like back then when it used to be like what it used to be. It's just so wild how things change here in this city and how fast it does. Like my grandma, she actually used to be like the manager of Peter Piper Pizza. So like there used to be like a big old Peter Piper Pizza right there on Eubank, across the street from like the KFC and stuff like that. But time flies. I'm like, dang. And I loved having my birthday parties there all the time. No. Big time birthday parties there all the time.
Heck yeah. It's so interesting because it seemed that, you know, your grandparents were so loving with you and gave you so much that you were lacking from your parents. And were they honest with you? What was with what was going on with your parents, or
it was wild because they were honest with me. They were honest with me to an extent. They wouldn't tell me full on endeavors, but they would tell me, hey, your mom's not doing so well. You know, your mom's not doing the greatest right now, and she has to seek help, and that's what she's doing. And so that's what I would understand it as then, you know. And then, you know, my grandparents with their loving arms, they would openly and willingly always try and like let, you know, my mom come back into their household at times to get her life together. Nice. My mom's even moved multiple times. She's moved to Texas. She's moved to California to just put herself outside of a different environment to where she wasn't getting involved with stuff like that. And, you know, it made me realize like just how I don't know. I just lost my train of thought on that. Honestly, I'm going to go to the south end of that one, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just so surreal when I think about it. It's so surreal because it just happens so fast. And like my mom's doing so, it's just so wild. Like my mom's doing so good in certain instances, and then in certain instances she was like down. But yeah.
And see, it's interesting. I love that perspective because I feel like then we can give people like a couple examples in that way. Like when you don't know if you're supposed to tell your children the truth or include them in the discussion even. Like for me, I grew up with my dad always talking shit about my mom.
Yeah.
But then at the end of he would shit on her like for like 20 minutes full on, and then be like, but you know, at the end of the day, she's your mom, you know? And it's like, no, you just like rallied me. Like all I want is to say that I hate her and that I never want to see her again.
Yeah.
And you know, so so please don't do that as a parent, because
Right.
that's so like that's mind destroying,
Yeah.
to the point that whenever I see a full moon, I think of my mom, because my dad used to say, oh, it's a full moon, so she's drunk somewhere.
Oh my goodness.
So, but it's
It's
terrible.
just like a natural thing that it would just come off his lips as like,
And it's
And then
terrible.
it taught you that.
Yeah, and now
Just-
every time, but now I try to switch it, and every time I see the moon, I'm like, I'm just, and most of the time when I see the moon, I'm in my car driving back home or something, and I'm just like talking to her, and I'm just like, Mom, I love you, and I know I wasn't talking to you, and like, and stuff like that, but it just will never leave my head. Whenever I see the moon, I'll think of my mom, and and it's like, don't do that to your children. And so in this instance, your grandparents were open,
Yeah.
were of course not probably giving you all the details of what was going on, but at least they included you in the discussion, and they were open about it, and not just like completely like or telling you, oh no, she's doing good, like she's, don't worry, she'll, what I mean, like kind of
Right.
like
Yeah, like
bubble wrap it,
trying
or
to put like a band-aid
Yeah,
over it in
yeah.
a sense. Yeah, and it's yeah, it is sad, because it's like you want to be honest, you want to be truthful. It only makes like things more clear, concise, and like understood when people are being truthful and honest with what's going on. Like there is a way of being truthful without having to like exclude the full details, especially with being a kid, with the mindset of what you have at that time. It's like yeah.
And in a sense, that's so smart, because then if they would have been caught in a lie, with everything going on, I mean, I'm not in your shoes, but how hard would it have been if you're already betrayed by your parents in a sense, because they left you with your grandparents, and then if your grandparents also are not truthful and lying to you, then when you get into those teenage years where you're like, were you kind of rebellious when you were a teenager?
Maybe a little bit when I got older,
Okay.
but I hold that thought, because you were saying as far as like just like before being rebellious and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's just like,
I know I go a million.
no, you're
different-
good. You're good. It was just
That's all. Let me see back
that
to
was
that.
so good. I was gonna go off. We're good. We're coming back in. All right.
Oh yeah, it's okay. Attends, what was I saying? So yeah, your grandparents being truthful to you.
Yes.
And
So being truthful, like I feel like it's only gonna help out for the child's perception, because and the mother's perception, because it's like if you're being truthful to the kid, the child will come off to its mom loving, like it's like, hey mom, like I understand you're going through this, it's like I care for you, like I understand, like I'm here too. Whereas like say if a kid is like not being told, and it's like, oh, she's fine, a kid may see that as like, oh, what do you mean she's fine? How is she fine when I'm over here but she's away from me? And it's like, that may cause some wild thoughts. That's what I want to touch on, is like, it's like being honest with children early and often when unfortunate situations are going like that. It only helps. So
No, it's true, and that actually makes me think of something else. Like reverse is when, because at some point, like my parents had like shared custody and stuff, and so sometimes my mom would then take us back to our dad, and we were. I think my sister was really young at that point, like baby, and she. But see, it's so interesting when you think back. Is like, the way my dad always told that story, I feel like it happened all the time. And maybe it was just a one instance. I don't know. Maybe it happened all the time. But it's like, I'm just realizing that, just telling you this. But apparently one time she had my sister in her arms, and she was like, oh, it's going to be okay. And before giving her to my dad. And my dad got like in a rage, because it was like, why would you say that? Like, don't say that, because it's going to be okay. Why wouldn't it be okay? Why wouldn't it be okay? And so, and I think that, because then he was implying that she was like causing like anxiety to my sister, thinking, like, oh, but I think that whole situation was anxiety either
so
way.
wild.
But, it's like, why did you have to fight? And so, and growing up, it's crazy, because I had one aunt, no, an uncle actually, that was separating from the mom of my cousin,
Yeah.
and they were like best friends. They were still super like nice to each other. And in my head, I was like, damn, why are my parents not like that? Why
Yeah.
do they have to fight? Like,
Yeah.
they were in love at some point. They had us. So
Yeah.
you know, I mean, stop faking like it never happened. You don't have to play a role of hating each other. I mean,
Right.
you could hate each other, but it's like it doesn't have to be like dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so
yeah.
wild. When it's yeah, and it's like, and when we see that, it's like that's what we're like. Sometimes people could be like used to seeing. That's what they're taught, and it's like, and they believe that's what it is.
How you
That's
have to be.
yeah,
Mhm.
and that's not what it has to be. So yeah.
So okay, before we get to your rebellious maybe teenage years,
Yeah,
let's put a little suspense into that. So you were more like an introvert, kind of
Yes.
like the nice kid in the class and all that.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Good kid. You know, goody two shoes. Sometimes I'd, you know, like be like teacher's pet type. You know, I don't know, like just class. I wouldn't be the class clown, but I'd be damn near close to it.
Okay.
Like, but I don't know. I was just that guy who loved to like make people laugh at the time being. And it's funny because I have an old yearbook that I was going through, and like in third grade, and all the kids were like saying like, "You're so funny, like I love you, have a great summer." And it's like, it's like, how many of the kids said that I was funny? I was like, dang. But yeah, I mean, that was before the rebellious bee, you know. I mean, before I mean, I got out of private school, and then I mean, I was already exposed to what public school was like through baseball, and a lot of the people, like a lot of my teammates that I would play with, because they would go to like public schools, and then I would sometimes join them to like dances and go to their school dances. I'm like, dang, so this is what they get down at, you know, like, but yeah, I mean, that's when rebellious BK started kind of coming to play in the sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you do? What
did I do? Oh man. Well, I love to. What first kind of started off was I went to go pick up a skateboard, and like I love skateboarding, and skateboarding was just one of the most freeing things. Like, and I still love it to this day, because it's just me on my skateboard, and I don't have like a coach over here telling me what I have to do and how to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, skateboarding really brought out a lot to me, and it brought a lot of great friends, a lot of amazing friends. And honestly, some of my friends that I did start smoking weed with, that's for sure. That's when Rebellious B started smoking marijuana, started smoking the pot when he was early in his adolescence out of high school, unfortunately. But I mean, that was at most as far as as rebellious as it would get. I mean, other than like, yeah, maybe sneaking out to the occasional party every now and then. I mean, I would have never rebel like how apparently my mom rebelled when she was at that age. You know what I'm saying? Or my dad. But like, yeah, it was definitely a different, interesting time around that season of life for sure.
Okay, see, it's interesting because for me, like, I've never been through that phase of smoking weed.
Yeah.
And I, like I said last time, is or I don't remember. It's okay. It doesn't matter.
No, you're
but
good.
I was explaining that the first time I smoked was when I believe I must have been like 7 or 8, and it was in my aunt's backyard with my cousin and my mom. So my mom was smoking, and she gave us her cigarette, and she was like, "Oh, here, take a puff." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" But you were a kid, and so you're like, "Sure." And then like my cousin and I almost died. I like to say that it's a bit dramatic, but like my cousin came back inside and he was green, you know, and he was like about to throw up. And my uncle like was I think it was a jiu-jitsu like teacher, and he was really like drinking milk, super healthy, like, you know. So he saw us come back inside like coughing and like half dead, and he was like, "What's going on?" And we're like, "No," because my mom was like made us promise not to say anything. It was like, "No, we're good. We're just caught a cold."
Yeah.
in like 10 minutes time outside. And so, but all that to say, like, I think it's because maybe, I don't know, for me, like my own like perspective is I was the big sister, and I couldn't really like, I was the example. And
Yeah.
so I used to get so mad because I would get like out of high school and we would just like walk home. But then everybody like in front of the school, like all the younger like students, like younger than me,
Yes.
were like smoking. And I'm like, dude, like is the day that stressful? Like your math class was that stressful that you have
Right.
to smoke? I was that person. I was the how do you say that? Like
It's a good person.
but I would say the one that gives advice, you know,
Yeah,
that knows
yeah.
better.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm the big sister and I'm like, for real, dude. But maybe I missed on experiences. I don't know. But it's funny because I feel like I've met a couple people now that
Yeah.
have been through that same phase.
Yeah.
So is it something that you still consume or?
To this day, not as much as I used to.
Okay.
I mean, I used to partake in it a lot more. I mean, once my friends that I like, the friends that I would hang around a lot at the time being like, it just kind of got to an extent where I was like, man, this is like too much. You know, it's just too much money, too much of my time, and it's a waste. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of space, and it's like again, it's like, don't get me wrong, because it's like there are people out there who use it for medicinal benefits, but it's like when you're being intentional with using it for medicinal
Right.
benefits, not just overindulging, you know, and just partying and doing it all for who knows, you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that was something that, you know, I had to learn obviously for myself, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
And were you the smoker that was like kind of like taking a puff? I don't know if that's the right word, but like with friends, or were you buying?
No, so it's funny. Okay, so me being the goody two shoes, I'd be the one who'd like get off of baseball practice, and I would like look at my phone, and I'd have like text messages from like my skateboard buddies, like, "Oh, come over to so and so's house. We just found my dad's stash, and like
Okay.
we're about to have a time of our life." And then like once that started, it just kind of like went downhill from, not, I wouldn't say downhill, but it just went like it went to an interesting hill.
It went,
from
yeah,
there.
it went there.
That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I still love those cats. I still love those guys. It's wild how time has evolved, and now we're all doing our own separate thing now. It's cool. It's cool to see.
But it stayed like contained, right? You
Yes.
didn't start like going on and like stealing stuff or
No,
damaging properties.
No,
or...
it didn't. No, I mean, shoot. I mean, I guess is.
or maybe.
No, I mean, there was one time I was being rebellious with some friends and egging, but that was another time. We'll save that for another time.
Okay.
But yeah, oh man, just
I'll stay between us.
the power. Oh man, the people that you put yourself around, you know, it's
Uh-huh.
like you'd be guilty by association just by being
Right.
around, you know. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't get to that extent to where like stealing and stuff like that. More so, it got to the extent to where like it was like, oh, you want to be a medicine man? Like you could make money helping this person out too. And like then next thing you know, all my friends and all these other people, and like including myself, was like helping people out with marijuana. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, I don't know, this doesn't feel right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel right. It reminded me a lot of what like my parents were undergoing, because I'm like, you know what, they were all, because it's like it's the addiction of fast money, like not being of service to others and actually being of service to this environment, you know, and conductive, you know. It's like when you do stuff like that, it's very selfish, and it's like you don't recognize it, and it put me into a
Yeah, and then it hits close to home because it's like, okay, I'm here helping.
yeah, it's like I could be making all the money in the world and I'm helping, but it's like, what can I do with this? It's not like I'm
But
gonna
then,
be
I'm part of that system that brought me where I am.
exactly. And then so that right there was definitely like, in a sense, it was like a mixture of good and bad, more so like hella interesting, just because I learned a lot about like myself, about like the people that I surrounded myself with, and how much that really ultimately mattered. And you know, don't get me wrong, like I love those people. I love them to this day, because because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be who I am to this day. And they make me who I am, and they help remind me of what I've gone through to become what I am to this day. And you know, it's they could do the same thing too. You know, it's like they could recognize, they could want better, they could do better, they could see better, they can have better, but it's just all in the matter of like, what is it that you're going to change? You know, you got to sacrifice things, you got to let go of something in order to gain something. So it's like, what are you going to let go of, you know? And it's hard for people to let go and put some things down and learn to surrender and to try new things. But it's like, how else are you going to learn? You know, how else are you going to grow? And how else are you going to find something that's going to be more like going to actually help you feel purpose, like find purpose, you know?
But see, and I feel like, I don't know, well, I feel like I just had a conversation, an eye-opening conversation with my husband, because I was just thinking, to me, it seems so clear. Same as you. I'm like, no, but you have to go out there. You have to try new things. You have to change your environment. Just, you know, don't, like, if you don't like your career, or if you don't like where you are at, go, like, explore new things. And actually, I follow, I'm Belgian, I'm from Belgium, I speak French, and I follow a lot of French influencers, family vloggers, you name it. And there's one of those moms that were on a podcast, and she was explaining how a lot of people hate on her because she makes a lot of money, all that, you know, the talk that people have on influencers. Yes. That's everywhere in the world. Well, she was saying, well, nowadays you don't have an excuse. Because a computer and your phone or a camera can get you anywhere. And if not that, your computer can get you into a program to have a bachelor or do night classes and change your, like, a career if you want to be something else, or you know, or someone else. And she said, nowadays you don't have an excuse. You can change your life if you want to. And so, and then I was talking with my husband, coming back to that, because you know, in some people that I know, I'm like, why do you complain? No, it's not the right word. Why do you settle with what you have if you're not happy? And you know, like, change, like, you know, I've been trying to help people get into, like, I'm at the post office, and I've been trying to get people there too, because it's a really, I mean, you don't have to have a degree, and it's a really good paying job, and la 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 la. But you know, and sometimes it's better than some other jobs that are being paid crap. And so but then some people that I've encountered that I've been trying to help are like, no, or no, I'm not, you know, she's not going to be able to, or she, you know, it's not for her. And it's like, no, but it's always better than a $10 plus or $15 paying job when you can be paid $20 plus at the post office. It's like, wait, I don't understand. Like, you could have a possibility. But where I'm going with all that is that some people, they don't have like their immediate family or surroundings or friends are all in the same environment, and they don't have any example of someone that actually reached out or did something else or left. And so and it was kind of eye-opening, because I was like, wait, but why don't they do it? Because it just infuriates me. But then I was like, wait, how would they? Because they don't have no one that actually showed them any different. And so sometimes I feel like we know, it's like we know the truth, and you want to enlighten people. And I don't know how to, because sometimes it's such a hard subject, because I feel like sometimes people don't want to change
they're very comfortable, they're set in their ways, and it really, it's like, that like all comes down to like their beliefs, their values, their, you know, and what it is that they've been taught, what they've been brought up upon. And like, you know, it's hard, because it's like some people can see things one way, but then some people can see things the other way. But it's like, what is really the right or wrong way, you know? And it's like, people though, they're, you know, the people that are able to at least like disassociate and understand that there is like two sides to a street, two sides to a blade. There's three sides to a penny, a quarter, if you actually want to look at it that way. You know? And it's like, to be able to understand and disassociate that there is two different ways, and it doesn't have to be just one way.
No.
And people need to give themselves grace and understanding. And it's like, again, it all comes down to like that faith and that trust, in a sense, because it's like sometimes our mind can play tricks on us, and it's like it'll tell us one thing, it'll make us fear that, you know. Fear is, I feel like, the number one thing that people are, you know, they get afraid of who's going to say this or who's going to say that, or, oh, I don't want to look like this, or I don't want to look like that, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, you know? And it's like, we're so soon to let our mind get in front of us. And when in reality, it's like, we got to just take it one step at a time,
Right.
and take a deep breath and, you know, just realize, hey, like it's okay. You know, it's all right. Like, and just remind ourselves that. So,
Yeah. And, yeah. And it's so crazy because we're in a period of time where we have so much information accessible at the tip of our fingers with our phones. And I feel like not everybody uses that. And in social media, it's so hard because, of course, like, you know, that's a tool, and for me, it's an insane tool to be able to have contacted you and come to meet you and talk to you today. But it's also like, for some people, it's a trap, and it's an endless scroll, and it keeps them anchored in their situation where, for some, I know they're unhappy with, but they feel like there's no escape, you know? And so I'm like, ooh, and I feel like that's what I love this podcast, because I don't want to, of course, you know, since earlier I want to name someone that I'm thinking about, and I don't want to do that, but I'm hoping that you will eventually watch this episode and the podcast and just get little glimpse of stuff and realize that there is more to life than what she's going through. And but
I can relate. I can heavily relate with that. You know, I'm hoping that there are some people out there who are watching this. Like,
wink,
nudge, nudge. Right. Like, cause hey man, like just nothing but real and love and authentic. And it's awesome when you get to come across other real, authentic beings who actually utilize social media for what it's actually meant for, because it can actually empower a lot when people like want to learn about it. And again, it's just like the same. It's like the people that you put yourself around. So it's like the people that you follow on your social media, that's like kind of the same algorithm that you're going to continue to get. And it's like, I didn't really, you know, we all started kind of becoming a lot more familiar with algorithms, and that Instagram even has an algorithm, but like, it makes sense, you know? It's like, obviously the people and the things that you're going to like, it's only going to give you more of that. So it's like, you got to really learn to distance yourself from that. And if you want, you know, if there's something that, if you actually do see someone that is actually like putting in the work and being real and being authentic and like having fun while doing it, and then it's like, and that resonates with you, then like, why not follow that person to learn from, you know? And so
no, and see, it's interesting because it made me think that I learned, I think it was in school maybe, but that we are the mirror of the 5 people that are the closest to us. I think that's it. And so it's interesting because also now with social media, I feel like this new generation, and us included, we see less and less people in real life. And so I'm wondering if that study then applies to you're the mirror of the people you see on your feed every day, which is crazy too, because like you said, we only see social media through our prism, our account, through the people that we like, the posts that we love. Because if you do like a cooking post, then all of a sudden you're gonna have like 20 cooking posts, you know, being suggested to you. And I say that because one of my sisters, she loves like depressing stuff. And I call that depressing stuff. It's just because it's like, you know, the like those depressing music, and it's like a quote. It's like,
yes, I know what you're talking about.
And some quotes can be empowering, but some quotes can really take you down for sure. And so that's why, you know, when we say like, you know, it depends on who you surround yourself with. It also depends who you follow and what you like, because then, you know, you can feel trapped in all that. And
and you know, that's a great thought, because it's just like, I don't know, when it's just like trying something new for the first time, you know, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel interesting. You're not going to, sometimes people only try once and then not do it again, you know, but it's like, you got to understand that, like, when you like, it's going to be awkward until you actually become like more in tune with it and keep practicing. And, you know, that it's like, it's just the same thing with like social media. It's like, and just like this right here, you know, it's like practice makes perfect at the end of the day. But like how many of the people actually want to practice and actually do the work, and actually like it's like a lot of people nowadays just want the work handed to them, you know.
Yes.
It's like, especially like on social media nowadays, and the way that things are being like taught and told, it's like people think like a lot of things are just like, oh, buy this one time and it's like a get rich quick type of thing, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, like it's not the ordeal here, you know. This is actually some real life changing stuff. But I mean, yeah, a whole other tangent. But
okay, yeah, no, that's true, and I want to take you there too. But okay, so I wanted to go back, and because you seem to be a very mellow but very positive person. Were you always like that? Because I felt, or maybe that was a too soon question, because I feel like we went to your rebellious teenage years to, you know, what happened after that? Like, did you graduate from high school?
Yeah. So, I mean, no, that's a great question. So throughout, I played 4 years of baseball. I went to Sandia High School. I graduated 2014. My sophomore year and my junior year were some of the best years of baseball I've ever played. Shout out to the Gunther family. I love them. And John Gunther, he used to be my baseball coach, not only in high school, but also in Little League.
Okay.
And so he actually happened to pass away from colon cancer. And so, yeah, it's so wild. But baseball and those 4 years, it went by so fast. I remember my senior year, Coach Gunther telling me, he's like, you're going to go play college baseball. You're going to go play college baseball. And I was getting it so drilled into my mental, thinking like, you know what, I'm going to go play college baseball. That's what I want to do. And I was already practicing a lot, and, you know, it's wild, but this is where like a lot of big pivotal moment happened within my career, within like school. I actually got offered an academic scholarship, to go play junior college baseball. And I had to deny that because at the time being, before I even came across the water and this company and so forth, this is when my grandmother had developed stage 4 lung cancer from smoking cigarettes. And then when it was crazy too. So like, again, this is when I say like I was put into perception as far as the things I could be doing differently for myself. It was like things I could be doing differently, like physically. Like I was already a pretty big athlete, like, but the things physically I could be doing for myself within the things I was consuming. Financially, it took a toll on me, because I seen my grandfather lose. He got laid off from a job that he was working 17 years as a high-end supervisor for. He was involved in a shooting at this place. It's so wild, and a whole other story. But like, he got laid off and he wasn't ready to retire. And he wasn't ready to retire. He fell back on going to getting his CDL truck driving school.
Okay.
So he was away from the family. He was away from the home. But then once my grandma got that, he came back to be with the family, and it put us all into a bundle, into a pickle, in the sense to where, you know, we had to make some hefty choices and sacrifices. So I stayed at home with my grandparents to help ensure that my grandmother was going to be okay, and also my grandfather too. And he came home as well, and I fell back on going to community college, following my friends, in the sense of going to construction management, and it wasn't really something I was super passionate about. And I also fell back at UPS as a package handler, and so just working different jobs, going to school. And yeah, that was in a very heavy pivotal moments, when just looking forward to going playing college baseball, and even having scouts coming to look at you, and like just having like my eyes set on this place. But then it's like, yeah, it was a hard moment to let go, and it's still something to this day, like, in the sense I do grieve about, because yeah, there's times and stories and things that I've even had dreams about in baseball. So it's wild. Yeah, it's wild. Wild. Fuck. I know, it hurts. Can I just tell this one real quick?
Yes, please.
So my junior year, I was coming up to play varsity. We 2-time runner-up in state. We were so close to taking on the Rio Rancho Rams. And I had a dream the night before we were playing them in the Isotopes Park, and it was beautiful. Best park to play on. Yeah, so wild. So I remember having a dream that I hit a home run out of Isotopes Park. And then next day comes a state game, and we're playing, and it was rowdy. It was a rowdy game. Like, Rio Rancho, their coach was pissed because all their players were like playing very, very bad, and so he like got on them in the dugout. He like made a scene. It even got our whole team to like, whoa, like what's going on over there? Oh shit. And then next thing you know, Rio Rancho starts coming back, and then my coach was like, Brian, go in and pitch hit. And so yeah, he subs me in. I wasn't playing all game. He's just like, Brian, I want you to go and pinch hit. So I'm over here like warming up, and like, let me mind you, this stadium is just so wild. Like I'm like, man, the echo, like
the energy,
the energy and the echoes of like when the ball comes off a baseball bat in that field, it's like, it's weird. It feels so good. I wish I could do it again to hit some baseballs there. But I came up to bat and I hit a home run, and but I pulled it too far foul. It literally went over the top of the foul pole, and I shit you not, this thing was fair, and I was like ready to like start running the bases, but then I see like the umpire call it foul, and I was like, oh, and like the whole crowd, the energy, oh man, it was the hardest thing. And then I ended up grounding out to the third baseman, and we ended up losing state that year, came second runner up, and it was one of the hardest things to let go. You know, it's like, man, like you love that, you want to win, and you're so close to winning. And even the year before that too, it was just like playing with such an amazing group of guys. Like it was a really cool experience. Like playing with all these cats that were, you know, like getting looked at to go play like with the Lobos and like, you know, out of state and so forth. But oh man, memories like that, I'll always cherish them and take them with me wherever I go. And that, and like the Little League memories, of course, like with my grandparents, that those were some of the days too. So.
Well, you took me there with you. I was there. And I saw that baseball go in.
And the umpire is like foul, and I'm like, no, are you kidding me? If we could do challenges right now, I would challenge this.
Right.
And it would have put us into a whole different gear, because the energy was shifted. It was wild how the game of baseball is, and just how energy goes with that. But energy goes where energy flows, they say. Right. So, yeah.
I'm so sorry for you. It just, it's so hard because, like Marisol, I don't know if you watch her story. She had a similar thing happen to her. So she's an incredible woman. Yeah. She's how do you say that? I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, Marie. Filipina.
Oh, she's Filipino.
Yeah, for some reason, like it came in French, and I couldn't find it. But she's Filipina, but the thing is, she was abused by her dad and a family member.
Wow.
And yeah, she has a really wild story, but her parents are deaf and mute, and she had to step up and take care of them, and that also happened where So she actually got accepted in college. I believe it was across the U.S.
Yeah.
But she also had to say no because her mom developed a disease. I believe it was lupus, but her mom, both her parents being deaf and mute, she had to stay and help, and so she had to also like give up that dream. And she was talking about how it was hard, but she felt like she had no other choice, and you know, and that she resented her parents for it, even though she never really like made them feel it or said it out loud till the episode. And but so it's so hard to hear your story too, and be like, man, like, you know, it's like there's almost like a parallel universe somewhere where maybe you would be somewhere else, you know? And
yeah, it is wild, and it's like, I have, it's hard to. It's been one of the many things. It's like, you say like live with no regrets, but that's like one of the many things. It's like, man, I regret. I'm like, how was that not a home run? Like
Right.
I regret. I'm like, and it almost makes me like. There's so many different things too that like were adding up along the way too, and I was looking into actually going to play baseball like for the junior college. And yeah, it's just wild the way that the world works, and timing of things. Cause
Yeah. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you were there for your grandparents.
Yes, yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, the roller coaster.
Dude, yeah, it was, yeah, and then like you're talking about like grieving like experiences, like that's one of the many experiences I've been like grieving, and like also like it was one of the hardest things in the sense for me to let go, because it's like I don't know, I wouldn't say I did baseball for the love of my grandparents of it. I did it for like I loved it, and
Right.
I cherished it, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. And like at the time being, it was hard for me to let that go, because I felt like, I'm like, man, like all these things, all this effort, all my grandpa's energy, all this stuff,
Right.
their time and love that they have invested into just getting me to baseball practice, and like them practicing with me and investing into all the tools and all the things that you need. It's like, man, like it felt so hard to let go. And even to this day, like it's still hard, but it's like I carry a lot of like what I've been taught in that, and the camaraderie and the
Yeah.
teammate, being a teammate and what it means to be a teammate. And yeah, I can go on about that. But
Do you still do some sports today?
I still skateboard. I
Okay.
still love to go on skateboard. I don't know if lifting is considered a sport, but I mean, in some places,
I would say so.
yeah, I love to go to the gym. I loved snowboarding. I'm more like into action sports now.
Okay.
I kind of have, there have been moments in time where I have thought about like maybe going to coach baseball and volunteer and stuff like that. And that's something that's still kind of playing at my heartstrings, but yeah, I'm just trying to feel around and see how I go about it. We'll see where we go with that. But, yeah, just to pour love and into the community, into the group of kids that I could, and who
Right.
knows, so.
Make an impact.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take you back a little, but
Yeah.
kind of see like your life
Yeah.
through maybe relationship perspectives. So were you the type that you can, only name your girlfriends on both your hands, or do you have a really long list? What type of young men were you?
This is great. So, yeah, I mean, I was more so the cat, the guy. I wasn't a dog. I'm the guy. I was more the guy that, I can keep all the names on my fingers, on all my
Okay.
hands. All right. I don't have a list. I'm not that type of guy to be like that, like, oh, I have this list and like, check out my list,
Right.
bro. Like, let me show you. Cause I've met people like that. I used to honestly affiliate myself with people like that. And, it's not good. It's not good. But I mean, no, I'm not, I like, again, I said I was like I carried myself all the way through as like being a gentle giant.
Right? Nice.
And like, but then at the same time, it's like I've been really like learning as far as like, like you don't not having to be a people pleaser in the sense, like not always having to like. It's okay on days when you want to just show up for yourself, and like understanding that like we got to fill up like our cup first before we can
Yes.
go and fill up others if we do choose to, and yeah, that right there is just one of the many hard things I had to learn to develop over time and through what I was putting myself through, but I often was the person that I feel like I would know better, and like I would just kind of like be the one to watch and listen and learn from other people's mistakes. And until then, I kind of rolled the dice a little bit and gambled in the sense of like, I got to learn on my own, like try things on my own, and you're not going to learn unless you try
Right.
and make the mistakes and fall flat on your face yourself, and yeah, it's wild. Like it took a while, but there's some things that took a while to learn, and there's some things that I learned sooner than later and later than sooner. So
Do you have examples?
yeah, I mean, One example is, I mean, it's not more like it wasn't like the younger Brian. It was more so like recently. It took me a little while to realize like the person that I called a mentor or a leader, and the path that they were leading me down, and I didn't recognize it a long time for myself and my business, and for other people that were actually like turned on to my business at first when I was first taught about this stuff. And it took me a little while to realize and learn like that this person doesn't like serve me, they don't help me, they're not here to help benefit me, and they're really all just for themselves, you know. And that's one example. I mean, all the other examples, I mean, there's like, again, I was almost like the dude who's like brushing things off their back, like, oh, it's cool, it's nonchalant, it's like just like water off a duck's back in a sense, you know. But yeah.
Okay. And so were you always, did you okay, I don't know how to turn that sentence. Were you a ladies boy? Yeah.
I'll say yes, because I'm gonna say fully
well,
yes.
That's good for
because you. Yeah, I mean, honestly, from when my grandpa, because it's just like how, you know, a lot of people were raised. It's like and things are taught for us to see, in the sense like, all right, my grandfather was always gone from work, so I'd always be home with my grandma. You know, my grandma would always be picking me up, dropping me off from you know, school. And I was always around like my grandma and her friends, and just like the female energy. So yeah, I definitely call myself a ladies man, ladies boy, whatever you want to call it.
So did you have a lot of like long relationship growing up? Like for me, the relationship with my husband right now is the longest I've had in my life. Before was hard for me, but because like, and I'll tell you my story, maybe you can tell us yours is. I was always so the thing is, I think it goes like hand in hand. I didn't really have a lot of friends because being the older sister, I had to go home and help. Like after school, I had to run, and my dad was really strict, and so we were timed on our way back home, and so if it took us like 21 minutes instead of 20 to get home, we were in trouble and all that good stuff. And then so I didn't have time, and then at the time we only had like so many texts a month, and so and then when I got home, like I had to just put my phone on a shelf, whatever. So and however, I'm so glad that at that time social media wasn't there, or barely starting, because I was kind of like bullied in school, and so it didn't follow me home, and that was, you know, that's a good thing. But all that to say that I wasn't part of any group because I didn't have the time. I was running all the time, left and right, and so I never had boyfriends really growing up, like in high school. And there was always this guy that I was in love with. His name is Jonathan. He's never going to watch this, but I feel like I thought he was always in love with me too. Like we never were really together, but we were the type to like send the little notes to each other. Do you want to be my boyfriend or girlfriend? Like a circle, yes or no.
Oh man. Dude.
But all that to say that it was always difficult, because then one day my dad was like, well, I never see you with boyfriends. Are you a lesbian? And I'm just like, first of all, I was like, well, what if? But then second of all, you know, then it's like you're trying to like rush and kind of trying to find a boyfriend, because you're like, oh, wait, am I going to end up with cats and alone? Which is, you know, it's not a problem, but, you know. And so I'm going into a really long, deep story, but all that to say that so I went to university and I got my bachelor degree, but I was still like at the end of my bachelor, I was kicked out by my parents, and I had to live by myself, and that's kind of when I was like 26 at the time, but that's kind of when I lived like my adolescence. I want to say like kind of when I went out and did crazy things and crazy.
We'll call it crazy.
And but
Unique. We'll say unique. Yeah.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And so I had some experiences, and then I talk about it in I think the episode with Marisol. I was raped, and
Whoa.
yeah, I was also a unique experience. Let's say it
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
no.
I've dealt with it, even though sometimes it's still like a little
Yeah.
insane. But all
Yes.
so and at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of like sexual experience, so it was even more
Mm.
traumatic. But every time I tried to have a boyfriend,
Yeah.
I came on. I feel like a psychopath because I would always be like, okay, so after 5 minutes that we were together, okay, so I want five kids and I want to get married and I want this and I want that and la 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 and I have a big family, so
Yeah.
you have to be okay with Christmas and and my families and it always only lasted 5 minutes because
Yeah.
then they were like, thank you, but no thank you. Yeah, it was kind of rough, but and so and then oh my god, I want to talk about him. So his name was Arthur, so Arthur, and
Yeah.
he was, I think, a year or two younger than me. And when you're young,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's so stupid because it's not. But
Yeah.
when the girl is older,
Yeah.
it's a lot. And
Yeah.
so I loved him so much,
Yeah.
and he loved me too. But then the age difference was too hard. And the poor thing, he was amazing, and he was so romantic. He walked in the snow to come bring me a letter at my home to like we were writing romantic letters to each other,
Oh,
and I was just
man.
like, oh my god. And then I was just so stupid. I was a teenager, and I was like, I broke it off because of the age difference, which
Yeah.
and so what that was like kind of one of my like most, I want to say, like relationship that I remember that was like that did something to me.
Yeah.
But then I'm not going to go into that
Yeah,
one, but then
yeah.
I met my husband.
Yes.
And but I was in a really bad situation, and I just decided to just do something for myself, and that's how it led me to there. But all that being said, I was a psychopath. Like
Yeah.
I was just coming off like this needs to, I feel like that's how I go with everything in my life, is this needs to be to bring result, right?
Yeah.
So so
It needs
this
to be like
relationship,
now, like, yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't have time, like, and this and that, and I think that impacted my friendships and my more romantic relationships that never really saw the light of day.
Yeah.
So how, like, what type of person you were
Yeah.
in that matter?
I mean, throughout like a lot of my relationships, I mean, I would say again, I was almost like very cool, calm, collective in the
Okay.
sense, but I also, I don't know, I like me being like, again, like the mom, like the woman's man, the woman's boy that I was. It's like, I don't know. I found like the first relationship that I had like in high school. I remember it was like almost like in the sense of an escape for me, because I was like, wow, this is totally different. Like this girl is different, and like it was just different. Like everything was different, and like from what it was that I was like previously exposed to, but then come down the lines to find out it's like man, this person ended up being like a like, I don't know, there's no any other way to put it, like just not honest, not real, not authentic. And and it's like, it's wild too, because it's like I feel like it's all in sometimes what we're like, again, like it all goes back to what we were taught. Like sometimes like our parents, like for instance my grandparents, they got married when they were like 15, 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we see that, it like makes us think like, oh, I gotta have a
have to do that
girlfriend.
too.
It's like I gotta have a girlfriend, and I gotta have a wife. And it's like same thing vice versa. It's like I gotta do that ASAP.
Right,
It's
don't
like
have
times
time. Yep.
tick, yeah. And it's like, it's like you gotta understand too. It's like, yeah, like to an extent, but you can just like go, you don't have to put your eggs in like one basket for that. It's
Right.
like for me, it did take a little time in like realizing what it is that I wanted. Cause like the first relationship that I was ever introduced to, it was like, it lasted about 2.5 years. And that was from like my junior year, and then junior year of high school, and then senior year. And then by when I graduated, we split like the end, almost like right when she was graduating, because she was a junior, I was a senior. And then now.
So wait, I don't know American system really well.
Oh, it's
so
okay.
were you older or was she?
I was older. Yeah,
Okay.
I was older. Yeah, I was older. So I was older. I was like 1 year older.
Okay.
So in the sense, and yeah, it really made me realize as far as like what it is that I want and what it is that I do not want.
Okay.
And the same goes for like my business as well, because again, like when I recognized and realized like how much of a mentor and a leader the person that I did have, it only made me realize like how much more of a leader and a mentor that I could become for all these other people that like at the time being, I thought I was being a mentor and a leader, but then it's like, oh, like what are you leading and helping these people out with in the first place? Like how consistent are you actually like bringing them together and like actually like being authentic, putting yourself in their shoes and trying to hear out what it is that they're going, what is it they need help with, you know? Right. And it's relationships, you know, it's like what would we do without them? It's like, it's awesome though, because it's like we need people, you know, and it's like, we can't just do everything on our own, you know? And it's like a lot of people, again, like you were saying, like, get stubborn, you know, and it's like people be stuck in their ways. And my grandfather was like one of those people. And it's like you get stuck in your ways, and if you're not open to receiving like help, you know, and that can be very detrimental, you know, to like your mental health, physical health, and a lot of different aspects too. Yeah.
So you're absolutely right, and it's difficult sometimes to accept help and to realize you need it. But I'm curious how you met is it your girlfriend or your fiance? Or, I don't want to step into, you know.
She's okay. So no, yeah, my girlfriend now, my partner, my girlfriend, fiance, all the above. She's amazing. It's so wild how we actually came in contact, because at the time being, she actually just got out of a crazy relationship, and she was undergoing a lot of things that she had to work with and grieve and work with, right? And myself being, I was kind of like, I would say 2 years, 2.5 years off of my relationship, and I was just doing myself, working on myself. And we happened to meet at Roosevelt Park. I don't know if you ever heard of that park, but yeah, it was a very, very cool thing. One of my business partner friends at the time, that we were just going to Roosevelt because we heard, hey, like we have some friends that are doing like a slack line, a yoga in the park, some things I've never done before. I wanted to go challenge myself and try some things I've never done. And doing like this stuff called like acro yoga. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's kind of interesting. It's like where people will lay down. Like you have to have two people for it, but you definitely check it out with your husband. I'm telling you, you try it out. It's very cool. So like you lay down like, and I'll like base. And for instance, like I'm the base, and then like you could do poses where like Shantae, my girlfriend, she would actually be sitting on like my feet or like different poses and stuff like that. So we go to this event, and this is where I first like connected with her. Like I never knew who she was, never realized, like I was like, oh man, she's really cool. And I got her Instagram, and then of course I slid into her DMs, and it was so funny because like the first thing I asked her was like a question that I always get is like, are you Hawaiian? Like,
I've been holding on to that, you know.
Yeah, and you know what? No, unfortunately, she was not Hawaiian, but she was open to like talking, and actually we actually linked up and connected, and it's been a huge blessing. It's been, I can't stress it enough, because like not only for her but for her family and the love and everything that they've just encompassed me with. And it's like, I love them all. Fran, Rocky, DJ, Devin, all you guys, man. It's Shantae, man.
You can tell, because I told you earlier, like I didn't, like I saw your social media, of course, that's how I came in contact with you, but I didn't want to dig too deep because I wanted to learn to know you today. But I did see a couple videos of you too, and you can tell like there's like something genuine there going on, and that you heal each other a little.
Yeah. Shoot, I would say a lot. No, just,
well, from me just seeing it, I could tell that for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been such a blessing. I can say, like, Shantae has been so down to earth and loving and caring, and it's just so wild how, like, we both, like, complement each other and really help each other out, and through thick and thin. Like, I always tell her, and we actually tell each other, like, through the thickness of times, in the sense of, like, when times feel very, very harsh and very, very rough, and, like, it could be physically, financially, spiritually, mentally, so many different aspects. It's like we're always, going to be here for each other, and even till the day do us part. It's like spiritually, we really like to, like, just hold on to each other and to our spiritual realm, in a sense, and yeah, it's so wild. I've like, I couldn't imagine. I remember looking back, and I was, like, so scared for my life, in the sense, because I remembered worrying about my grandparents and worrying about, like, wow, like, I don't know, like, where am I going to go? What's going to happen here? And it's there's been a lot of hard let goes, but there's been also some really good hello, like new upbringings and upcomings for ourselves, and for not only for myself, but for, like, Shantae, and it obviously takes, like, time, it takes effort in, like, recognizing, like, the things that we have to work on and let go. But if it wasn't for her, I don't know where I would be at right now. It's kind of crazy. There's so many different, so many different avenues of life.
Yeah, I can tell in your eyes that, it's genuine, and that she makes you happy, and that relationship makes you happy. Yeah. But also, I think that's the beauty of it too. Like, I have that with my husband, is the respect we have for each other, and how and I mean, this is, like, I feel like we all have our soulmate somewhere. But and I don't mean to say that all, to make it sound too, like, how do you say that, pink and you know what I mean, like, it's perfect relationship, like, couple goals,
everything's, like,
whatever,
roses and dandelions, and everything's all perfect over here, right?
And it's not, because we also fight, and we also go through stuff, but at the end of the day, we stay true to each other, and we stay respectful, and we communicate the best we can. Sometimes it doesn't really work, but I mean, I'm no communication expert. I'm improving, but sometimes I have a hard time saying things. And I like to say sometimes it's the language barrier, but I also grew up, and that's hard. I grew up with, like, passive aggressive comments all the time, and I've been better, but it's hard. Like, we talked about it with my sister. We're expert in, we know what to say to someone to hurt them, because that's how we grew up. And that's awful. That's so you don't want to be like that. You don't want to do that. But sometimes when you're hurt, that's the easiest thing to do. And so I'm still learning to not do that. But
that's amazing, though, because, like you say, like, I don't know, many of you guys might have heard or have heard, like, hurt people, and it's like, well, like, only hurt people when they, like, choose to. But it's like, again, it's all in the power of, like, decisions and your choices of what it is that you're choosing to do about that, because it's like, you don't have to choose to hurt other people. There's other ways that you can actually uplift, empower, love, and sometimes you can love from a distance. It's takes time, a lot of time.
No, that's true. Thank you for sharing that with your relationship with us. How long have you been together?
Yeah, we're coming up on our 7th year together here in August. So
congratulations.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so wild. I know. It's like 7 years. I'm like, it feels so funny saying that, because I'm like, man, it only takes me 4 years to graduate high school. Like,
and oh my God, it's so crazy you say that, because I feel like, there's so many things that, have been, like, connecting us too. And like, I've been 7 years with my husband, married 6 years, but it's like we met 8 years ago, got together 7 years ago, and got married 6 years ago. But easy for numbers. Works really well. But
that's awesome.
So, well, let's get down out of with the mystery. So you were saying, because I've been wondering that too, do you have, like you said, you're Albuquerque born and raised, but what are your origins? Are you from North America, or are you from
that's
some island?
It's awesome that you know that's when it took me a little bit of research and digging,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what, I decided to do one of the it's called like the
Oh
23
yes, yes, yes.
Me's,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, yeah, let's see what this really is all about. Because like from my knowledge, all I knew is that I'm like I only knew that I'm like African American, Caucasian, and maybe a little bit of Indian, like indigenous.
Oh, yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when I dove in and found out, I come to find out I'm like 30% sub-Saharan African, and then like there's like 60% that is like I'm like Norwegian. So like yeah, yeah.
60?
Yeah, yeah. So like six. So and but it's weird. It's like blended with like like I'm a mutt basically, but it's like blended with like
So interesting.
like Norwegian, Scandinavian, little bit of like Viking blood. It was saying like there's a whole. It actually was saying too that I'm like point. It was telling me that I'm 0.4% more Neanderthal than a lot of the 23andMe customers.
Huh.
So I was like, dang, so I'm like a real true
You're
cave
a
dweller
real
over here.
one.
Like I'm the one who found fire. No, but it's just like it was eye opening to realize, you know. I was like, dang, so I was like, that's where the big eyebrows come from. You know, just
No, but see, it's funny because I thought you were going to tell me, yeah, and I'm a distant cousin from, what's his name, Jason Momoa.
Oh, stop. It's either Jason Momoa or it's Dwayne the Rock Johnson. All right. Whenever my hair is not in this
You're definitely a mix. You were mixed, you know, definitely.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so funny. I mean, yeah. You say, yeah, I had like a blank moment in my answer just because I was like, what is it called? They say that we have on Earth like we're like, you have, oh man, I forgot. It's like you have two people that look alike and they're called like
doppelgangers. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like in the world there's like two other people that look exactly like,
Yeah.
like you, or you know, and I feel like you're like, for you you're the mixed,
A mix
the
of
mixture.
both of them, huh?
Yes.
I know. It's so funny. Yeah.
But being yourself though, you know,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
But that's so fun. So okay, I was curious because you are also deep into helping people with their mental health, and I wanted to touch with that because I'm so glad I just remembered.
Yeah.
I love your Instagram name.
Yeah.
Which is Kellum with Kindness.
Yes.
Which is of course a winky to the Selena Gomez song, Kill Them with Kindness, which is insane because isn't Selena Gomez also really deep into mental health and helping and all that good
as
stuff?
far, you know, I haven't done much research on Selena, but I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't, you know, like, or that she was like already big on mental health for sure. Shoot.
But I love it
When you-
because every time I see your name, I have this song in there.
Yeah, that's cool because like I never really thought about it like that. I didn't even know that she has that, but that's cool to think about. Like, cause it's just wild because like I think she dated like Mac Miller. I think I don't know. I could be wrong.
I think you might be right.
I think she dated Mac Miller, and you know it's crazy because obviously like he had his whole situation of like drugs and addiction and stuff like that, you know, and it just like I wonder if that really like humbled her and maybe even helped like hone her in on more of the mental side because you never know. Like
You never know.
Yeah.
And
But-
I think I don't know her much about her life.
Right.
I said I would not interview celebrities, but if Selena, if you want to
Yeah.
come on
Yeah.
Marie podcast,
Come
Marie+One. No, so I think also her she went through a lot of like physical change and also mostly due to like medical conditions and stuff, and so it had a big
Yeah.
role in her mental health, and I think she's big into that because of all that.
Yeah.
And I might be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I know that she is big into helping people with mental health issues. So do you want to talk to us a little bit more about your account and what you do? And
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. Yeah, of course. Just to kind of touch a little bit as far as I'm down for like just to touch a little bit of like the mental health part.
Yes.
It's just, you know, it's wild because it's like mental health can be very like a touchy subject, but it's like, you got to understand, it's like, I feel like when you learn to become like an early adapter, in the sense of like an early adapter to being like like open to like switching things like right here and right now, like either talking to someone and being okay and open to talking to someone, you know, because like a lot of people feel closed off and they don't want to share what it is that they've gone through, and it's hard for people to share that stuff. And it's like, you know, there's so many different aspects for it, because it's like, I don't know, I don't know. It's one of my, we've had like Shantae's father, her actual biological father. Actually, he's taken his own life at a very young age, and it really just, from seeing it from her own side and from, you know, experiencing it like from the family side, it's just very, man, mental health. It's like it's a real deal. You know, people want to feel heard. They want to, you know, they want to be heard. They want to be felt. They want to be seen. And social media is definitely a great part that people could start playing into. It's like, it's just learning how to differentiate a, you know, like we were saying, like you want to become more of a creator more so than a consumer. But like, it's just all on what it is that you're going to consume. So it's like, you got to consume more of like good stuff. Like, what are the things that are going to make you feel good? You know, like, and what are the thoughts that you can be thinking right now that can help you think good? Like good thoughts, good, happy thoughts. And one way of that, like you know, one of my mentors have helped me out, is just like, you could jumpstart just first thing in the morning is like writing down or like journaling 100 things that you're grateful for. And it really counteracts, because sometimes we could wake up on the wrong side of the bed and we'll be feeling this way or that way. And it's like, you're like, oh, I'm not grateful. It's like you're in that time of that moment, right. You feel like you're not grateful for anything, but it's like, you got to really sit yourself down and humble yourself a bit, take some deep breaths and realize how precious like life is, energy is, this moment is, and everything in it, you know, and realize that you are here for a bigger and better like purpose and reason, you know, because I feel like that's what can definitely affect a lot of what people's mental health, you know, is whether if they're being, you know, heard, felt, seen. And, you know, a lot of times it does take some like some actual like some steps of things that are of getting uncomfortable with, you know, like, and sometimes it could be as simple as you trying to being open and sharing that with someone, you know, and it could be a hard thing to do, but like, again, I said, like, if you become an early adapter at that, I feel like you'll learn more about yourself sooner than later. And it'll only help you more with your overall mental health. But yeah, I mean, all for that. Now more about like my platform. You were asking, yeah, I mean, I like just let's see how I'm gonna go about this. I actually I recently started tapping into like social media marketing and just the power of social media and being able to connect with people that you never know who you could imagine, just by simply sharing your story and your testimony and the things that you've gone through, and the people that can relate with that, you know, and it's wild. It's been so amazing to connect with people that, like, you know, like yourself. And with that, it's really helped me just open up my eyes more to being more of a creator than a consumer. Because it's like, again, like there's so many different things out there that can distract us and pull us away and make us feel some type of way if we allow it. But if we are able to learn how to disassociate and take certain things that we're seeing out there on like the news or the media with a grain of salt, then it's like, that's more power to you to just like understand that you're able to you don't have to give your energy all to that, you know. It's like you can take action and like and go and like better the world rather than like getting consumed in it, you know what I'm saying? Because it's very easy to get distracted, and there's, you know, it honestly, it took something like this to really help propel me. It took a Enagic. Like Enagic found me. The water found me. I didn't find it. It's crazy to like say that, because it's like this water really, it brought me purpose. It's brought me so much life. It's helped me out within, like, obviously, like I can go off about like the energy and stuff, but like when it comes to like actually like when I sharing it with people, it's just been a huge blessing, like to hear, you have people thanking you for like, hey, like this water has really helped me out with my acid reflux, or it's helped me out with my like restless leg syndrome, and it's helped me out with like my recovery in the gym, or it's helped me out with this and that. And that right there has brought me, it's brought a lot of purpose. It's brought a lot of just humbleness, love, a community that I was asking for, I was praying for, and I was praying for the woman of my dreams, which now is like an amazing business partner, and we were crushing it together,
Thank
and true power couple, okay. Like
nice.
we're striving, and it just feels good to say that, because I don't know, it feels like I'm in a dream right now. It's just so wild, it's like I couldn't have dreamt this or thought of this, because I was really like at one point in my life I was almost allowing like fear to consume me, and instead of like actually stepping out of the fear and stepping into faith and actually striving and trying new things, it really opened up to doors for me that I never thought I could ever open, and without that, it's, man, I don't know, it's just wild. It's just wild. I can go off, but my let's see, I'm trying to get like all
That's
this
okay.
all like organized. So like on my platform, I love to post and share and educate people on the benefits of like this water, but not only this water, but what this company can offer, the business side of things. Because a lot of things, I feel like a lot of people can have a lot of different misconceptions between like what we were earlier discussing, like pyramid schemes and stuff like that. And with this community, it's an amazing community that has really built their foundation on God and on trust and on understanding that, we're here to actually help people. We're helping leaders become leaders. Whereas it's not just like, oh, this is our water store, come in and you could buy a membership and that's what you get. And yeah, like that's what it was. Cause unfortunately that was the situation that I was in. And I mean, things change over time. It wasn't always like that. We were actually once abiding by the policy of what an addict asks, and we were actually sharing the water for free, which is what I do now, actually. So that's what you're supposed to do. Is I have a free product. I share water for free, which I do actually happen to have a gallon for you too.
Oh, okay.
I would have gotten him a gallon over here too. But I mean, I just love to help and support people, because it's like a lot of people sleep on it. A lot of people don't think that, like, they sleep on water, they sleep on their health, they sleep on their overall health, like,
Yes,
and it's like there's simple things and simple actions that we could be doing that could really go a long way. And it's like, who knew that me just picking up this water would actually bring so much purpose and life and energy, and bring us into this room and like help me with so many different things that because seriously, I had no idea. I was like just relying on my grandparents, and my parents are stuck in what it is that they were doing, and baseball was an outlet for me. But then like health was a priority, like true health, once it really came into my grandparents and my life to just really change up things. So social media, Instagram, Kellum with Kindness. You'll see a lot of my great, I love to just post about like mindset, also like just like your message, understanding that like our story is our message. It could be used to compel and help inspire and help educate and help bring people closer, and who knows, it could actually connect with people that have gone through the same realm as you. And yeah, it's been an awesome place to also connect and just share more about like my water antics. I love to do like water tests. I'll do water demonstrations for people and show people the differences and comparisons, as far as for like, this is what I'm drinking, this is what you could be drinking, and this is what you guys are drinking, and it really puts into perception. And because that's what we're mainly of, that's what we're mainly made up of is water.
Is water, yeah. 80%, no, I think.
Yeah, 80. They say like 70 to 80%, like our heart, our lungs, our blood, like our eyes, everything. It's like related within water. And so it's like, when you give it like a high vibrational, like living water, it could really change the output of what it is that like your body is doing for you. And like, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to say like,
yeah.
you know, say I'm not like, you know, I'm not a doctor like to tell people like, you know, medical claims and stuff. But like when you actually give your body what you're saying, you know, when you give your body what it needs, it'll put itself into homeostasis where it'll fight off the sicknesses and diseases itself, you know. And sometimes it takes ourself to giving ourselves something that's not like sitting in plastic and sitting out in like out in the sun for long periods of time. Or don't get me wrong, tap water is not the greatest either. So it's like, as long as you know, you're filtering it, that is a great step, you know, a great step to bettering your health. But like, it's just, again, like a lot of people sleep on water, hydration. And it's like, I consider it like the most adult slept on beverage, you know, because it's like, people will say to you like, "Oh, beer is my water. I hydrate with my beer," or you know, like
or sodas.
Yeah, or sodas. Or yeah, they're like, I don't like water, but I like the sparkly carbon dioxide style of
I know, or people
water.
that say I don't like the taste of water, and it's like, no, please don't say that. But also, it's interesting because see, like not too long ago, and I drink mostly water.
Yeah.
But it hit me like not too long ago because I was sick and I just took like a NyQuil, whatever, and it's, you know, it's a little bit, right? It's like 30 milliliters, and it's like, but it knocks you out, and it's like, and then I was thinking, and I was like, man, if 30 milliliters of this knocks you out, like what would a liter or a gallon of water do to your body? You know, it's like, and because it, of course, you don't realize it because when you drink water, you don't. So actually, you do, but you don't feel the effects of water. But actually, you do because it helps with your sleep. It helps with your hunger. It helps with your skin health. It's help. You know,
it sounds like you're a water snob yourself, because I am. You know, it's crazy. Like I really got tuned into all this stuff, and like I used to think water was just water, but like I used to be like big on drinking like water out of the tap straight off the hose, and I always thought that like for some reason that the water would just tasted so much better because of obviously the way that the rubber was on the hose compared to like the kitchen sink. But yeah, lo and behold, and you know, once I found out it's not, you know, it's not healthy for us, and like the things that they're putting into our water is not healthy as well. Like you think about it, they're more so inducing all these different things into the water, into our tap water, because they're more so concerned about the pipes underneath the ground, because it's not like they're going to go and like dig up the foundation and redo these pipes. You know, they have to like treat the water in order for the pipes to stay long lasting and still pumping water so that there's no water coming around on the streets, you know. And it's wild because like it's not all water's created equal, you know, and a lot of people sleep on that. So
no, yeah, and then you know there's all like the PFAS like situation also that's going on where all of us have traces of it in our systems now because it's everywhere, and it's also in water, and so it's like okay, and plastic bottled water are convenient, but they're not, you know, as healthy as you think they are, and it's hard because I feel like, especially in today's society, and especially, I mean, in my case, being European, it's so hard because I feel like there's so much more like, Europe is not perfect by any mean, but there's so much more like regulations over there regarding food and waters and stuff than here. I feel like sometimes it's really rough to find like good ingredients, and you almost have to only just consume like fresh food, because anything that's even remotely slightly transformed is full of additives and added sugars and endocrine disruptors, which I avoid like a disease because I have thyroid issues, and so I can't consume any of that because it's just going to be even worse for me. And so, you know, it's a lot. We can go on also, like you said, for hours, but it's important to pay attention to your health. But I feel like the like mainstream or even like your education in school, I don't know how it is in America, but in Europe, maybe a little, we kind of learn about stuff, but they really, I wish they would teach you how to cook, how to, you know, like fill in your cart at the store, and how the importance of stuff. And Yeah.
It's not talked about. They don't talk about it often, and they need to talk about it more. It's like, the whole, they have the whole like food pyramid as far as like, like your daily supplemental value as far as for, your eggs
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and milk and everything like that. Like that's it's so old, you know what I'm saying? It's so old. And it's wild that things like that, like, not to go into that, but it's like they weren't, a lot of things like that don't ever get like tested that much. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have the amount of tests to actually like compile to where they can actually say, oh yeah, this is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
Okay.
ordeal. But like, yeah, food,
But
they, they need that. They need you to, it's because honestly, like fresh out of high school, it's like, unless your parents are teaching you like how to cook and what to cook, it's like you're only gonna be making like maybe scrambled eggs and like ramen noodles or something,
right,
you
right.
know? But,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and for some it's just tacos, burgers, pizzas,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so that's.
yeah.
But see, that's why. Okay, maybe we can tap into that. Maybe you know a little bit better than me. I actually just came to learn that I think, is it a Maslow pyramid, or what is it? La pyramide de Maslow, I think it was. But what is the name of that? Well, the pyramid where
It's the I forget. It's like the
or the food pyramid.
it is the food pyramid. That's what it is. That's what it was referred to as here.
Yes, but see, like I feel, because I just came to learn that apparently it's been like completely, like it's now obsolete.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, wait, what? Like, because my husband said that, and I was like, no, but wait, that makes me mad, because I feel like it's something that's still being taught in Europe, but not, maybe some stuff were added. I don't know, because I'm not there, of course, but. I hate when some people are just like, all right, it's just trash, let's throw it away. Okay, but what do we replace it with? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, because I guess I was trying to read a little bit about it, and what's going on, I guess, is that because there's other sources of like milk
Yeah.
or protein,
Yeah.
but then I'm like, okay, but then let's add them, or let's change the order of the pyramid.
Yeah.
But at the base of the pyramid was water.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's still the base of
Yeah,
everything.
yep.
And then you have other stuff. Maybe you can switch. I think what was after the starch, and then maybe the fat and protein. But maybe
It's
we
like
can
fish
just
and poultry and stuff like that.
reinvent,
Chicken. Yeah,
or
yeah.
change the order of stuff, because I feel like the problem is when we just like toss it away. We have now a whole new generation coming up that are thinking that just
Yeah.
like jalapeno poppers and tacos are good for you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and sorry, it just gets me a little heated, just because I'm like, now we have a generation that just can't cook, that don't know the value of a good like meal that's balanced
Yeah.
with between the protein, the starch, and the vegetables, and that don't know the proportion of stuff, and now we're just into what type of diet are you
Yeah.
on, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, let's come back to eating healthy and
Yeah.
balanced, please. And so yeah,
No,
sorry.
you want to know something that's that really actually humbled me and helped me really just learn more as far as like the alternatives and things that I could be feeding my body is when like obviously when I met Shantae, she actually helped me in the sense of going more plant-based, like, and I actually went full on vegan for two and a half years. And I enjoyed it. It was like honestly some of the best energy, and as far as like my energy, I felt really good. But there's like obviously other things that like as I kind of come down the line, it is very hard to sustain. And don't get me wrong though, like I loved it because it's like it really taught me how to make food for myself, and what I could be chefing up, and like the things that I could be making, and all the different colors of the rainbow that I could be in like incorporating. Like yeah, like it's hard because it's like I know a lot of people probably want to stay away, like some people have probably been like stay away from veggies because it's like they could be sprayed with so much like stuff, but
That's
it's
true.
like you got to be careful.
yeah.
It's like it's so hard nowadays because it's like people are really striving to do better, and I feel like the only way to strive to do better in that sense is by farming your own stuff, and like,
or try the best you can to buy like organic, but even though I know it's
yeah,
expensive, which is insane how you
expensive.
feel like, how you see like the evolution of prices and stuff, but
yeah,
I agree with you. And also the thing is, but the thing is, sometimes it's hard because what I hate is like the bipolarization of like
Yeah.
everything now, and
Yeah.
it's like then people are like, well, but see, I'm not gonna eat that broccoli because it's been like sprayed with pesticides, and then they turn around and they go grab a McDonald's, and it's like, no, dude, like you know that doesn't make sense. And it's like the so I agree with you. Of course, like you have to pay attention to the origin of the products that you buy, because like for example, for me as a European growing up, we knew that you couldn't consume any vegetables that came from Spain, for example, because they have insane amount of fields that are just sprayed. It's just known. It's sprayed and pesticides and stuff. And you just know you don't consume anything coming from there. But so you have to be conscious. But it's like, okay, whose role is it to teach us that, know? And I feel like nobody's taking that role. And when you have people like, what's his name? Paul Saladino on social media. So he's a guy that he says a lot of good stuff, but the way he says it sometimes it's really controversial. And so he's really on like eating grass-fed beef and all that good stuff, and kefir, and it's all good stuff, but it's I think sometimes like the way he delivers the message is do you say counterproductive? Counterproductive, because then it's just gonna make people not want to follow you if you're just acting like like an ass. Yes. But it's like, so who takes that role? And I feel like it's hard, because then a lot of people go on social media, so it's good to have accounts like even like yours, or like like Paul, to have like Stark, like is my friends, to be on social media to educate people. But then it's so hard to also, like, I feel like then the comments are like just like an amount of people just contradicting each other, and then you're like, you have to go on and do your own research, with very few people do, because you don't have time, or because, and so I feel like nowadays it's so hard to eat healthy. And then I also wanted to go to like, I don't know how it is in America. In Europe, we study about like medieval times and stuff, and how rich people were actually eating unhealthy, and being a peasant, you were eating good because you were eating the cereal bread and the white bread, which is actually unhealthy, was actually for the rich people. And so rich people were like super fat and big, and that was the beauty at the time, was to be fat,
to be big. That's what my grandparents have said the same thing. They're all like, oh, if you see a big man, that means they're rich.
That means they could afford to eat. And but it's so funny how like it all shifted now, and it's so cheap to eat shit. And it's so hard and expensive to eat healthy.
And they make it that much harder for people to like eat healthy, and it's sad. It's hard. It's like it only pushes people to actually like want to at least hopefully like make food for themselves, because like at least it's like it's hard at the end of the day. People just want it. It's like with that convenience. It's like people like they just want it now, and they want it like right here, right now. Like they don't want to actually like either put in the work or put in the effort, or actually be patient and wait for their meal.
No, because it's easy. It's easy. And
it's easy.
It's so easy. And don't get me wrong. When I leave here, I'll call my husband and I'll say, did you make something, or do you want me to bring something back? Because in Edgewood, there's nothing good to eat. So, I'm in town, so that's our only time that we're like, okay, let's take something to eat. And right now, I'm really into pho for some reason. I'm just like going through a period where I just could eat pho every day. But it's so easy. And I have this moment in my life that I always like refer to in that like area too, is that I feel like in regard with time. So in Belgium, you walk everywhere really, or you take public transportation. But until like recently, before I moved, so I want to say I moved 6 years ago, so I want to say like maybe 2 years before that, or a couple years before that, they started to implement at all the like the bus stops, the metro stops, tram stops, they implemented those poles with the time that that you had to wait for the next one to arrive. But before that, you kind of were just waiting at the station, or that bus station or the tram station, and just you were just gonna, or you there was a schedule, so you could go and check the time and be like, okay, it's gonna be 5 minutes, or you can just wait and trust that it's gonna come. But since they put that, you would just like rush to the thing and look at the time, and then it says 2 minutes, and then you're like, it's been 3, and I feel like the more you know the time, or you're conscious of the time, or how much time you have left, or that good stuff, the more impatient you are. And I feel like it's the same, like to relate with food. I don't know if it was a really good parallel, but you know that all those options are around you, and you can just go grab a bucket of fried chicken or whatever, and be home and eat in 5 minutes, and then be on to something, you know, doing something else. And so I think that's the constant like battle in your head of, okay, I can do it, or I can go home and spend so long, and then if you have children, and you know, it's like, okay, but then up. It's bedtime, and you know, I don't have
I definitely you know, it's like I have compassion, and it's like for that especially, it's I can only imagine like how it is, you know, especially with like having that many, depending on how many kids you have in your house. It's like, it's a lot already, but like, dang, you know, it is a lot. And it's like, I'd be like, hey, is dinner ready? Or
right,
like from Edgewood.
I know, and then you're hungry, and you know you have like a
have to,
40-minute drive, and you're like, okay, what's the plan? But going on with that, what's your favorite dish?
Favorite dish? I love Italian food.
Okay.
So, I love me I love like a shrimp, like a grilled shrimp Alfredo, like a fettuccine Alfredo. That's really good. I could do that. It's been a while.
Okay.
What about yours?
So I'm gonna say 2. So I'm gonna say from like when I was like my Belgian side, because I'm Belgian. I want to say it's called a carbonade. So it's a Belgian stew. It's a Belgian beef stew made with brown beer.
That sounds good.
And oh my god, it's amazing. And then so how you eat it, you put French fries in your plate, because also French fries are Belgians. Sorry. And
they're not French.
no.
What? No.
And you know, it's funny. I love to just mention that Belgian. So French people from Belgium and from Belgium and French people from France, we don't like each other. Because French people from France are arrogant, and we just don't like each other. And they think they're the best. No,
they just know it all, don't they?
Yeah. God. And they stole the French fries. They were from us. God damn it. And so. You put French fries, and then you put the stew on top, and then you put mayo.
That sounds really good.
But it's really amazing.
That sounds really good.
That's my favorite dish. And then here, I want to say my mother-in-law green chili chicken enchiladas.
Yeah, green chili chicken enchiladas is definitely has my heart as well. Oh, that's so good. Sometimes I'll get it Christmas, but I love red and green chili. You can't go wrong with either or.
Right. And then to know that's it's really it's from here, right? And so to know that other people everywhere in the world have never came across green or red chili is sometimes insane to me.
It is. Apparently I've heard that green chili actually has a whole bunch of like benefits for like your blood and also like your heart health and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty wild from what I've heard. But,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's cool.
So that's really cool. I wanted to see. So we have I have my little cards
here. Yeah.
I have no idea. You don't have the. Oh, I'll take that too.
Solid.
Okay. Just as a little thing. How long has it been? Okay.
Nice.
So. You know, I'm not closing us off, but so I have these little cards here. For those of you who have been watching Marie+One for a little bit, this is actually going to be episode 10.
Let's go!
Heck yeah! So I have these little pile. So I'm going to try to like maybe fan it out. Actually, to me. So this one is going to be a live question. I'm going to ask you to pick one, and then we'll see if it. Makes you think of anything. And this is a terrible fan, but we'll make it work. And here, if you can pick up a card. Thank you.
Okay.
And then here is going to be the stack of expressions. And same thing. Little music.
Perfect.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So obviously I'm supposed to describe like this, correct? And then
yeah, read it, and or you can read it out loud, or just.
Okay. So life question: what is a lesson you learned the hard way?
Okay.
Oh man, so a lesson that I learned the hard way is that, and this is a good question right here. Oh man, so a lesson that I learned the hard way is communication. Communication is key, and with that being said, like you want to be as clear and concise whenever like you're in, like I had like a situation that happened and things got carried away because there was misunderstanding and miscommunication.
Okay.
And I learned the hard way of this by not being able to be around this person, and because of their feelings, obviously, like I hurt their feelings because of how apparently I had communicated. And even though it wasn't like my intention to make them feel the way I made them feel, I was really just in my heart, in my mind, I was there to like help bring clarity, bring awareness, and just to be there for them, to be a brother for them, And it's like I had to learn that, like, some things are just better left unsaid, and you got to learn to like pick your battles wisely, because it's like you don't know, like, obviously what that person has gone through and where they're at in that time, if they're even able to like mentally process or even like talk to you about this. Because it's like different strokes for different folks. We all gone through our own shit, and we recover from it either sooner than later or later than sooner. And yeah, that was just one of the many lessons I learned the hard way, was like is to just communicating clear and concise. And ultimately that's one of the main reasons why I also wanted to even go in business for myself, was to become a better speaker and to speak life into others and to be of service in that way. And yeah, that's one of the many lessons.
Okay.
The second card says this is a great one. The only impossible journey is the one you never begin, by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is great. Yeah, it's only impossible. It's like things are only impossible as far as to what your mind can perceive it. If you're going to be constantly telling yourself that, oh, that's impossible, or it can't go that way, it can, it really can. It can go.
Or if you keep telling yourself that, it's gonna stay there.
Yes, exactly. If you keep telling yourself that, then that's what it's gonna stick as. And it's like you can't. It's like sometimes people. It's like we need to understand that it's never impossible. Sometimes you just need like to pick up another book, or pick up like the phone and talk to a different friend, talk to a new mentor, talk to someone different, and it's like that will really help like change your perception and perspective of whatever it may be that you're going through, of your thoughts, habits, emotions at the time being. Because it's like at the time being, you may feel like it's impossible, but then it's like, when you reconsider and sit down and think about it, it's like, my mind was just playing tricks on me. It's like, it really is. It's a lot easier. It's like, it could be a lot easier if we just don't let our mind and our feelings get in the way of doing so. It's like sometimes we don't feel like doing something, or like going to the gym, or showing up for ourselves, or even coming here on this podcast today. It could be, there's so many different things, and it's like, like you gotta disassociate from that. And it's like, you never know what the outcome could be, and it's from connecting and what it could bring, not only for yourself but for others.
That is true.
That's what ultimately.
Yeah, and then I feel like a lot of it too is resistance, and
the resistance.
It's like, growing up for women, I always heard about that glass ceiling. And that's kind of how I picture resistance, is like you're good where you are, right? And then you have this crazy idea, or you want to do something different, and then but then it's keeping you there, and it's like, well, are you going to break it and go through it in order to just keep going, or you're just going to stay there because it's scary, and resistance is that resistance is scary, and it's thick, and it's in your way, but then depending on how much you want it, you're either going to break through and bust through, or you're just going to polish it and just stay where you are. But, it's crazy sometimes how life works, and how sometimes it also sends you mixed messages and mixed signals, and you're like, I don't know what you want me to do, but
I'll take that.
I'll go for it.
Yeah.
So see, it's interesting. If you're okay with that, I wanted to maybe take you back to also your spiritual journey, because so you were telling us earlier that you were in different types of schools at first. And I think you said the first one was Baptist.
It was a Baptist,
and then Lutheran. Yeah. I know nothing about. See, to me, like growing up in Europe, it's like you have Christians, Muslims, Jews, and you have Orthodox, and that's it. And so I came here and I was like, oh, there's the Baptist, and there's the other branch, and there's and I'm confused. But I have the utmost respect for whatever belief you.
That's a great question. My as far as like my spirituality, like I truthfully believe that there, I truthfully believe in God the Father Almighty, and that there is an origin, there is a creator, like there is a definiteness of like a creator, because it's just I feel like that. He has sent his son in the form of what we are as a human to come and actually like sacrifice himself for the epitome of what it is that we do here as humans. It's like we have a sinful nature, it's like but we got to understand that, like, regardless of our sinful nature, we are forgiven, we can be accepted and loved, and like, so ultimately it's like I just believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ, and he's been a huge contributor and a huge factor into my life, into helping bring like a lot of this opportunity and into my life, and ultimately help me out with cultivating and carrying just faith, and having such high faith, even when times were like the darkest for me, when I would like feel like, where my parents are going to go, where are my grandparents going to go, what am I going to do? And in all those times of me just like choosing to like, because there's like no other choice at times. There's no other choice for us to just like, for myself, is to just to lean in and trust. I mean, sometimes other people maybe feel like they have no other choice but to just go back into doing the same things that they did. But it's hard to learn to cultivate that, and understanding that faith is I feel like the base of everything. Because it's like, if you're not faithful with what it is that you're doing or where you're going, it's like, it's going to be hard. And it's hard for anybody to have faith in this world when there's so much different like monstrosities, and like there's literal like spiritual warfare going on out there. You know what I'm saying? And like distractions that really is really like ultimately trying to separate people, and keeping people separate from actually working together and actually helping people like grow and build and so forth. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I truthfully never really learned as far as it's so complex when it comes to like Christianity, and like this is what I feel, I may be wrong, but it's like I feel like a lot of like like Baptist, Lutheran, there's like Baptist, Lutheran, Catholic, there's so many different like origins of Christianity, in the sense I feel like it's only been like that maybe because of like, I feel like through segregation, and through like people like having to like make like their own like groups, faith-based groups around God, because obviously like the government or other people don't want them to do that, because they know that that's powerful, that's going to help people in other ways. That it's like, we're not teaching them, we're not going to teach them and show them that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's where like the segregation maybe even comes into where like they make things seem so much bigger than what it really is. You know, and like it's like, you know, they're like, oh, like this African American was smoking marijuana and now he's over here and killed all these people. You know what I'm saying? They say
Right,
they
the
blame
links
it
to-
on
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, but like it's just insane. Like it's just insane. So it's like, yeah, I went off on that one.
No, you
I went
didn't.
off. Spirituality is everything though. Like I don't like to get too much into it too either at times, because it's like I don't like to come off as like it's so interesting, because it's like I'm not like trying to preach to you or tell you like no, you're wrong and this is what you should believe in. It's like, you know what, no, like what you believe in is what you believe in, and I like I love and I appreciate that. And like it's never a comparison, it's never like a competition, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if anything, if I notice that there are people who, for instance, like the old business partner of mine, if I do notice that they are like in like putting themselves and like saying things that are not godly, not like supportive, not helpful, not like, and they're not even putting themselves into other people's shoes, then it's like, man, like I'm going to give it to you. You know,
Yeah,
I'm going to tell
yeah.
you, you need to go hang out with God and just that's it. You know, go be yourself and with the universe, you know, with whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
Yeah, but see, okay, so and if you're okay to have that discussion,
Yeah.
I'd love to like talk a little bit more about that too. Is for me, it's sometimes so hard. Like
Yeah.
I have the utmost respect. Like
Yeah.
to me, as long as that was kind of that's always been my motto is you're free to do anything that you wish to do or
Yeah.
to believe in,
Yeah.
as long as you let me do the same. You know,
Right,
it's like
right.
it's mutual courtesy of freedom, and
Yeah.
everybody feels like how they want to feel, and
Yeah.
believes in whatever they want to believe.
Yeah.
But I think it's always super interesting to have a conversation with someone that don't believe the same as me, because
Yeah.
I don't pretend to know the truth, or
Right,
you know, it's
right.
like, well, who knows?
Yeah.
But sometimes what's hard for me is that okay, there's two things.
Yeah.
Is that I grew up as a Christian, and I was in a Catholic school,
Yeah.
and at some point we went to church every Sunday because the church was helping. My dad had association that was helping poor people, and the church was helping But as a Christian /
Yeah.
Catholic, you
Yeah.
grew up as you have to love your neighbor, and all that good stuff. But to
Yeah.
me, it's like, isn't that supposed to be being a good person? Like, doesn't it come to
Yeah.
being a good human?
Yeah.
And shouldn't we all be like that
Yeah.
without having to bring it back to any type of faith?
Yeah.
That's like one thing to me. I'm just like, okay, like that. And then the second thing is, sometimes it's hard for me to just hear people say,
Yeah.
if God wants it, or
Yeah.
if it's not the right saying.
Yeah.
It's like, if God will, God's
If God
will.
willing, if God
Yeah.
God willing, like
Yeah. And it's like, no, what I want to do is I want to
Yeah.
empower people. I want to
Yeah.
empower them to be like, I don't know if there is someone up there watching over us, but if there isn't,
yeah.
I believe in you. You
Yeah.
can do it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And one day I kind of heard my husband's grandmother, because she was telling us how she's always been like close to a church, and
Yeah.
she was helping and cooking for them, and and giving her like her time and her money, but also she would just buy everything to cook, and she would cook for the church, and
Yeah.
and nobody ever paid her anything. And I was telling her, you know what, to me, and I don't mean to offend anybody,
No,
but
yeah.
I said, to me, we're all God, and to
Yeah.
me, you are God too, because
Yeah.
you helped, and you brought, and you gave your
Yes.
time, and you helped people,
Yeah.
and that, you know, you brought that to their lives.
Yeah.
And she got so offended because she was like, I'm not God. And I was like, okay, you know, that's, but,
Yeah.
but my meaning is I want to empower people.
Yeah, and I like that you say that, because it's like, I think people, it's funny because it's like we like, I think people get it like confused. They're like, that when they're like thinking, they're like are you're not calling me God? Like, no, but it's like, I am calling you, like, you are a piece of God's creation, so henceforth you are, like, you were made by him, so it's like you are like a piece of his creation. You know what I'm saying?
That should have been my answer.
But it's like, but no, I understand where you get at though, because it's like, because people will think that, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, like, we're all a piece in this puzzle together, you know, and we're uniquely created.
But so I feel like sometimes people just hide behind God or faith
Yeah.
to say, well, God didn't want that for me, or and it's like, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be because and sometimes it's just a little frustrating because I just want to put power back into people and saying, no, don't leave it up to a higher power that that may or may not exist. That's not up to me to say, but so
no, you know what, and it's like it's like this. It's like at the end of the day, it's like you could either have that, have at least it's either the what's the word,
or it empowers you or not also.
It's it's almost it's more so to be empowering, to at least help you understand that you are here for a reason. You know what I'm saying? You weren't just made for just for, you know what I'm saying? You weren't brought into this life for just some random piece of reason. It's there's so many different things in this life that you could actually help and serve and bring life into. But it's hard for people to recognize that or realize that they're even here, because it's the cards that we can be dealt with or served with, or series of unfortunate events. But I mean, it's definitely something I love. I definitely, I encourage people to develop that, that spiritual walk, and understanding that, we are here far more than what it is that we've been put here, on earth. And it's just, understand that we are a piece of the puzzle, and that, it's we don't have to be so rude to each other. You know, we could come at each other with more compassion, love, and actually kindness. Yeah. And that's needed, it's needed more. And even to ourselves, kindness to ourselves, and being able to actually understand where people have been, and where they have why they think that way, and and maybe even perhaps help them overcome barriers and beliefs, or old thought habits and limiting beliefs that might have been stopping them from actually taking action, or actually going out and doing what it is that they say that they want to do, or do that they it's do the damn thing,
right?
Yeah.
So we have a little tradition.
Yeah.
That's a good one. We have a little tradition on the show. So every time I interview a guest, I at the closer to the end, or at the end of the episode, I read them the question from the previous guest, not knowing. So when I ask them to write a question, it's not knowing who the next guest is gonna be. And so after you answer Lester's question, I'll ask you to ask a question to the next guest.
Okay.
And so Lester's question to you is, mention 3 of your happiest moments in your life.
Ooh, mention 3 of the happiest moments in my life. 3 of the happiest. One of the he's just making my brain feel crazy right now, because I'm tasting and feeling all these little experiences and things that I'm, I would have to say that going to Hawaii with my mom and my grandpa and my sister, that was really, really just that experience alone. It was when my mom was, like I said, she had many different ups and downs. She was happening to doing really well at that time, and it was after my grandma passed, and we decided my mom wanted to take us all to Hawaii and take my grandpa away, to go and get away and just to reset, and to just kind of just grieve this in there in Hawaii. That was one of the many, one of the most one of the happiest moments. And then the second was being able to go to Japan and get to go with my love and her brother, and going out to Okinawa and Tokyo, and getting to go see the origins of an Agic, and learning about the owner and his upbringing from him being a worker for Sony, and to hearing out how his family actually suffered from like a lot of different radiation poisoning, to ultimately what fueled his desire and his success to actually make these medical grade water ionizers. And so yeah, Japan. And third, oh man, my third happiest would be, oh man, when I'm honestly when I'm on my skateboard. I'm really happy when I'm on my skateboard. There's no other feeling like it. Just being on that thing and just riding and just free and not really having anyone telling you what you have to do. It's just like what you feel and what you want to do and what you want to challenge and try. That's all on your own plate. So that right there is something that truly brings happiness. That's for sure. One of the happiest moments for sure is being on my skateboard.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's insane, and it's funny that 2 out of 3 are travel.
Yeah, traveling, huh? And then the one is actually like just like the feeling of being on it. Yeah, I don't know why. Just riding in general is just feels. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's like, and I'm not the only person who has to say this, because there's a lot of other people out there who know that when you ride a skateboard or just simply standing on that wood and those wheels, it makes you feel some type of way.
Well, it's a skill already, because I can't stand on one now. I mean,
they're hard. They're hard. I used to be a rollerblader, but.
Oh wow!
Oh, we ain't saying that. I love skateboards. I love skateboards. So.
What it made me think of non-related, but did you have did you do some student jobs when you were earlier? Or younger?
Not necessarily. No.
You never really worked as a student?
No. Well, I guess yes, in the sense. In my 8th grade class, if you want to consider this work, but it was just like we used to read to the kindergartners, and that was like,
okay,
we'd just read to them first thing in the mornings on a Wednesday or something like that. But that was like the only job as a student in the sense.
Okay, well, no, that's good. That's good. I mean, I had to work early on and help my parents, but I mean, I don't wish that on anybody.
Well, it helps.
It helps.
I feel like if you're working early.
What was your first job experience?
My first job experience was actually there at my grandma's fraternity store called Nice as New.
Okay.
I used to help her steam the clothes like at a young age, and like help her put away like certain things and put tags on clothes, and that was like one of my first ever like kind of experiences with the job. And then after that, it was like Dion's. I worked at Dion's. And then after Dion's, I quit Dion's and I started working with my mom, who at the time being, she was working for this like towing company. So we would like go around late at night in apartment complexes, checking people's like registration tags to make sure that they're compliant with the property's laws. And if not, then we're calling like a tow truck to like come and tow your car out of it. Yeah. So like that was interesting, because I'd have some crazy people come out on us like late at night. So I had to quit that one, because that was experience. Yeah, that was some interesting.
That sounds wild.
Yeah, that, and then from working on houses, I used to help. I used to work on it was like private housing. It was a private housing contractor by the name of Patriot Homes at the time, and the owner sold it. He was actually going into day trading, but yeah, that was a fun time. There's tons of jobs I've had the fair and share of just kind of dilly-dallying in and feeling around in. And now, I mean, my ultimate goal is to go full-time with this water and to help bring more clarity and help people more so with it, and also perhaps help people start their own business if they're looking into doing that as well, because there is a very unique opportunity with this. And on top of that, while I'm working towards that, to doing that full time, I also work at a biodegradable and eco-friendly casket and urn company by the name of Passages International. And so I'm the production manager for their corporation, and I help construct a lot of the biodegradable urns and eco-friendly caskets. So. Yeah. That's,
okay.
Yeah.
And that's pretty self-explanatory.
Got my hands all over the place, biodegradable right now.
Yes. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. So I mean, there's like some controversy about asking people that, but
Huh.
where do you see yourself in
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 that
5 years or
Oh,
in
where do I
like,
see myself in
yeah.
5 years? Um, Shoot, I see.
You said full time maybe
Yes,
or
yeah, I do see that's one thing. I do see myself full time. I see myself and also my girlfriend being able to do this full time, traveling and going to places that we've been wanting to go to and revisiting places that we loved and we've been to go like we've been very fortunate to go to already. And also like being able to help connect and help other people grow themselves physically, financially, spiritually with perhaps this opportunity, or if not, just simply just by me being a mentor and a coach or a leader and hydration coach if you want to call it.
yeah.
Yeah, and I see us both being able to financially bring in. I want us to be able to have like being making like 5 to 10 grand months in our business. It has a lot of good opportunity and potential for that, and
That's a good goal. That's feasible.
yeah. So that's what's written on my. I actually have that on my
Vision.
mirror at
Oh,
home.
yeah.
So yeah, it's like they call it like a chief aim. So it's like that's
Oh.
your chief aim for what it is that you're focusing up and aiming for. And yeah, it's very detailed. But
You know, for that I have a crazy story because so I got into like one of my favorite movie is Yes Man with Jim Carrey. I just love Jim Carrey so
Jim
much.
Carrey's so good.
And so he is also a lot into the law of attraction and universe type of thing. And so he was explaining that when he started acting, he made was it a check or a fake bill
Yeah, I know
to
what you're talking about.
himself, like with like a $50,000 that he had in his wallet,
Yeah.
and it actually ended up being like his first like check, whatever. It was crazy story, but all that to say that to me, like, he made it happen. And
Yeah.
so but it's funny because when I just learned that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the same. Like, and it's at that point there is like a lottery with like millions going on, and I was like, I'm gonna win those.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna win those. I'm gonna win those. I'm gonna win
Yeah.
those. And I fill in the lottery ticket
Yeah.
with my numbers and like my numbers, my birthday, la 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 la. La. And I don't know why. Last second, I'm like, nah. Instead of playing it,
Yeah.
I made another ticket that I played, and I didn't play that one. And I'm with my friends, and we're just laughing about it, and they're like, all right, Jim Carrey, whatever. And I was like, no, you'll see, I'm gonna win. And then the numbers that came out were the numbers I didn't play.
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
I swear.
What?
And I was so
That's a trip right there.
because I
That
feel
would've
like my life would have changed forever at that point.
Yeah.
But and then I lost my train of thought because I was going somewhere else with it.
Yeah.
But oh crap.
Like-
but yeah, no, I didn't play those numbers then,
Yeah.
and I was just like, that my life, like, I was just like, no. And everybody made fun of me because they were like, for real, you just been like telling us for hours about this like law of attraction thing, and you don't even follow your own rules, and you don't even play those numbers.
It's like
and
a bite in the ass
Yeah.
right there. It's
Yeah.
like,
yeah. Oh no. I got
Yeah.
it back. Okay. So because then what I started doing was vision boards. That's
yeah.
kind of what you
Yeah.
were saying about your mirror.
Yes.
And like the more you see it every day, the more it has a chance to happen because it's just a reminder to your brain, and you
Yeah.
just get on with it.
Yeah.
And I had when I met my husband in a line of Britney Spears concert in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And we stayed in touch, but then I was a psychopath. The more I was texting him, the less he was answering me, to the point that at some point he just stopped answering. So
Yeah.
he was from Albuquerque, I was from Belgium, and there's like, we were just an ocean apart. We're
Yeah.
like, and he was just like, whatever, nothing's ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I was in love with him and whatever. And so I made a vision board I went on social media and I printed a picture of him
Yeah.
and of his dog. And I made a vision board above my bed.
That's awesome.
And there was like I went online and I got a picture of like people walking on the beach, whatever, like holding hands, and printed a picture of a ring. And I did like Jim Carrey. I had a fake bill with like a $50,000 or whatever, or million, I don't remember, but that still to this day is not coming to be true, but just saying.
Yeah.
But the fun story in that though is that so I went to visit him, and that's when we were like, okay, so because at some point we started talking again, and we were talking every day, and we were like, okay, is this true? Is this real? And he was like, well, maybe you should come for the balloon fiesta, and then we can see each other and kind of go on from there. And I came, and then 2 days after I left, he booked his plane tickets to come visit me in Belgium. And when he came, I completely forgot about that vision board above my
And it's
bed.
there.
And so we enter my studio, and then he looks
And he's like, what?
what is that? That just ran, and I was like, nothing. I took it down, and I was like, no, nothing. And he was like, you printed a picture of me? And I was like, yeah, and no. And then he looked, and he was like, he was a little horrified. But I made it happen because,
awesome.
we're married and we have a little baby. And
Let's
all that good stuff. But, I think the power of persuasion and doing stuff like that is really important.
Yeah, the imagination, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's funny because I've been tapping into this book about this, and it's something that it's sad because it's like we can lose it as we get older. And it's like we got to learn that our imagination is everything. We got to imagine ourselves like driving that car before we actually have it, you know what I'm saying? Or seeing ourselves walking down the beach or walking down that one street that we want to be, or walking down in our house, and imagining all the different things, it's like imagination it's very powerful and strong, and it could definitely take you in ways that you never knew you could, and it could lead you into amazing, it's weird. It's like you could have your intentions and things set onto that, but sometimes God or the universe will bring in things that are so much more for you that it's wow, it's so beautiful, it's like his plan is just, it's amazing, to see it unravel, because sometimes it's we have, we can have all our eggs in our plans that we want.
Oh yeah, no. And see, I feel like in a way, because see, I told our craziest story, because our craziest story. Yes, Marie, our story is crazy.
Yeah.
In the sense that if I went to that line even 5 minutes earlier or later, or them, because at first, so in line, I just met this guy started talking to me. And I thought I knew. Oh my God, I can't speak. I thought I was a Britney Spears fan. I was not. He knew everything about her. I only knew her date of birth, and that she liked to drink Sprite, and and a couple lyrics, of course.
Right.
But that was about it. And he was like, "Oh no," and talking about the name of the dancers and stuff. And then this girl behind us starts to kind of join the conversation, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming. I come from Albuquerque, and I came with my best friend, and she's weird talking about him." And she's like, "Yeah, and he came just for the drive, and he's gonna join us in line later." And then we talk, and then comes Joshua, that was her best friend, and that Joshua is now my husband, but I just fell in love with him. But see, if that guy didn't start talking to me, and she didn't start talking, and if we were not even 5 minutes apart, we would never have met. And it's this, sometimes I can't grasp.
It's hard to grasp that, huh?
Yeah.
Same, yeah. I'm like, where would I be if I wouldn't have even decided? If I wouldn't have gone to the slack line, the park in the slack line that day, I I don't.
It's you're one decision away from a different life. But where I was going with that is, I always told Joshua that I wasn't happy in my life, and so that if I didn't end up meeting him and moving to America, marrying him, and all that good stuff, I would have gone to Africa, or I wouldn't have left, because I always thought it didn't feel right where I was at in my life, and I never and it's it's not a bad, I'm not saying it in the sense that it's bad. I never saw myself as a 9 to 5. In French we say métro boulot dodo, so it means you go to you take the metro to go to work, you work, and then you sleep, and it's that
cycle.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
eat, sleep, repeat, or whatever that it is in English. And I never saw myself in that, and I never felt comfortable. And I was like, I meant to do something else. I'm not trying to like sound cocky or whatever, but I always thought, if it's not here, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna help people in Africa. And you know, I'm gonna build a well or a school, and I'm just gonna go and I deeply felt like I was meant to just help people. And so that's why I love this, because I feel like, you know, that's also my calling, is to just talk to people, and I love talking. I guess you could tell, but
it helps.
So all that to say that I feel like, for me at least, I feel like there's always this little voice in there that was like, hey, this is not right for you right now. Or, you know, like, hey, you're like, look somewhere else, like do something else. And I don't know if it was ever the case for you, but if you feel that little voice in there, follow it. Like try different things.
You know, be open to trying and listening to that inner voice, because like, you know, it'll lead you to places that like you never thought it would ever get you to, but it's like it blesses us, you know. So that's awesome.
And maybe some people call that little voice God, you know.
Very, very, very so. That's very true.
But is there, before I ask you, and we can do that off camera, but is there anything else you wanted to talk about today?
No, I mean, shoot, nothing else that I have as of right. I don't think so. I don't think I have anything else. Shoot, I don't know. I would love to do this again if it ever perhaps comes the opportunity. Like I'll let the you know, like, but and shoot, this is awesome. This is really such an awesome, unique opportunity. And to just come into the space, and I can't thank you enough for just like your love and your support, and having him here. It's awesome. Like, I've never done this, but this is the real deal, Holyfield, and it feels true, it feels real, it feels authentic, and I can't wait to just see how much more you keep producing and continue to help. And if you're ever in Belgium, like Shantae and I are gonna have to go and visit you out there if we can. Like,
please do.
You talking about it over here, it makes me like I want to go and explore the world more and get out there. So you
have to. And speaking of Belgium, like my home country, I love it so much. And it's funny because every time like I talk about Europe, like I had my first hater. I had the first person that said, well, if like go back to what that person said, shut down the podcast and go back to Europe or whatever. And I was just like, I know. I was like, which by the way, I actually just passed the test, and I'm finally at the end of my immigration journey, and I'm gonna be sworn in on 4th of July. That's
huge congratulations. Cool. That's blessings. That's awesome.
I know you guys are gonna be able to call me the American pretty soon. So no, but I thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you. I feel like each guest that comes is a blessing to me. I truly love talking about to people and digging into their lives, because I feel like we walk past so many people every day, and we don't know what they're going through, and we all have insane stories. And sometimes, you know, the saying that says like we are always the douchebag of someone else. It's not the real saying, but of someone else on the road. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
And it's like, well, you know, you always pass people that you don't know what they're going through, or you don't know what they've been through, and sometimes we get lost into how fast life goes, and this is about taking the time, no matter how long it takes, but you know, to have a little conversation, and maybe we'll have a part 2, and that would be awesome. And you know, you're welcome back anytime. And Shantae is welcome anytime she wants to, also, and anybody. I love doing this, so hopefully I get to, if I'm lucky, I'll get to do this. No, well, see, that's bad. I can't say that, but I was going to say I get to do this for the rest of my life. But if I keep doing the work and showing up, you're
set up, you're doing great things already. Like, this is a great spot, this is a great place. And the matter of fact is just holding yourself accountable and doing it, even at times when we don't feel like it.
I know.
Being consistent, it's gonna pay off. And like, you never know. You never know who you could end up, interviewing. And it's like people like I can't thank you enough for just helping like people like and helping us put ourselves on in the sense of the pedestal to like sharing more about ourselves and what we do and what we encounter and what we go through and the things that can help us and solutions that, you know, we may have found that can help others too. So
Yes.
that's what it's all about. You know,
Yes.
I can't thank you guys enough. And yeah, maybe a part two. Who knows?
Maybe a
We'll
part
see.
two, and you know,
We could
and
have Shantae involved too. I mean, we could
I would love that.
do a
Yes.
couple interview and see if that's possible.
Yes, I would love that for sure. And then if you're you're interesting. But if you're interested in Enagic, is that what you say?
Yeah,
Enagic?
Enagic or
Enagic.
Enagic Kangen water. Yeah, if you're interested or yeah.
What you said.
Yes.
Enagic Kangen water. Please contact Brian, and I'm sure he'll be happy to talk more about it, and you know, hook you up and whatever, however it works. And even I'm assuming if you want to be part of the business, or you know, or helping, you know, share it. And so I wanted to say something else and then I forgot, but it's okay. It will come back in the part 2.
That's fine.
But so thank you so much for watching. And if you want to be a guest, there's a little form to fill in my bio on Instagram. I would love to have you on. And I cannot believe this was already episode 10. Thank you for showing up and for watching this. And thank you thank you to Lester from the Albuquerque podcast studio for this amazing setup. And then if you want to sponsor the podcast, don't hesitate to contact me, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.